same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Your new kitchen appliances look stunning.
Thanks. We had a blast shopping for them at National Appliance Warehouse. There's over 100 brands in their huge showroom. The best part was knowing everything was at the best price.
You must have done a ton of research.
Oh, we didn't need to. They use a cutting-edge technology called Price Assure. It searches prices online and updates electronic Price Assure tags in real time to make sure theirs is the lowest.
Lower than the big box stores.
Especially them, with much better service, too. And they do it all. Delivery, installation, everything.
National Appliance Warehouse in Wilmington.
Yes, they may not be the closest, but they'll make your wallet the happiest.
Enjoy huge savings on new kitchen appliances during the Columbus Day Mega Sale underway at National Appliance Warehouse. Save up to 34% on select GE appliances. National Appliance Warehouse has an unmatched collection of GE, Cafe, GE Profile, and Monogram appliances. Innovative and inspiring, you'll love GE appliances. Preview the savings at nationalappliancewarehouse.com or visit their easily accessible showroom on 202 in tax-free Wilmington.
Station WPHT AM, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing broad outreach regarding job vacancies at this station. We seek the help of local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our station. Community organizations that wish to receive our vacancy information should contact Lisa Morton at WPHT AM by calling 215-234-2400. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit odysseyinc.com/careers for an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Hi, it's John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with cancer or undergoing treatments that cause severe fatigue or brain fog, medical hydration may be right for you. Dr. Molly Fantasia of Innovative Medical Associates has more than 30 years experience in helping cancer patients to improve their quality of life.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Nutrients delivered right to the cells support your immune system through surgery, chemotherapy, or wherever you may be on your cancer journey. Visit innovativemedicalassociates.com to schedule a free consultation with Dr. Molly in their Marlton, New Jersey office. And join us on Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 for Health Watch to learn more about the benefits of medical hydration for cancer, autoimmune diseases, and more.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at the Miller Center in Reading on Wednesday, October 18th, and at Springfield High School in Delaware County, Saturday, November 11th.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I loved it.
All his voices are fabulous, and the fact that he sings.
I couldn't imagine how good it would be with the orchestra. Awesome show.
I've never laughed so much my cheeks hurt. I'm like, yeah.
That's Conklin and City Rhythm at the Miller Center in Reading and at Springfield High School in Delco. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
JoeConklin.com!
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Monday, October 2nd. It is indeed Kayal and Company, right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app. And, of course, streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number, Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal, Kayal. Dawn Stenzel with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producers. Hopefully all of you had a great weekend. September is in the books. October is underway. Dawn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great.
Did Germantown Academy cover the 13.5 Friday night?
Everybody won.
All right.
Everybody won.
All right.
It's all good.
Beautiful.
Little, some tense moments.
Okay.
On Friday's game, Friday night under the lights. high school football, and then, of course, last night. But we got her done.
We got her done.
On
Gregory,
both ends.
how are you, sir?
Hey, buddy.
You okay?
Yeah, no, I just...
What's up?
These,
the controls are out of whack again?
These microphones are never
I know.
the way they should be on Monday morning.
Somebody should be shot.
Somebody playing with your buttons again.
Yeah, always.
Get Trump in here. Let him act like they're looters, and he'll shoot them.
God.
Good God. What a day, what a day, what a day. We got a lot of good stuff coming up on today's show. RFK Jr. officially enters the party.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I was told that this couldn't happen when we predicted this.
And,
remember?
Well, I've also been told that you are...
I'm a capitalist and a
wait.
corporate whore.
We have to evacuate the building. Somebody pulled the fire alarm.
Yes, if the cut sheet goes awry this morning and I get disheveled, I will panic and pull the fire alarm, folks.
And pretend like you thought it was how you opened the door.
Yeah. I'll just say, I thought that's how I get into the sales meeting.
Yeah.
My God.
But can we just sit on the fact for 1 second that this show always ahead of the curve, saying that RFK Jr. might be the 2024 spoiler?
Stalker might actually join me in the big take this morning. It's going to be like a dual big take.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not. That's as far as my analysis goes.
All right.
They don't pay me for analysis. They pay you for analysis.
All right.
And Dawn.
Yes, indeed. Eagles get a win. More Taylor Swift. Oh, my goodness. You know, the Kelseys are now officially the Mannings of the NFL.
Yeah.
I just realized that last night. Except they're actually active and playing. But they're like...
Yeah, I'm kind of done with the Kelseys, too.
Yeah, actually, they're like the Kardashians in a way.
Enough.
I can't get enough. I love it.
That includes Jason.
The New York Post is camped out in front of...
I know.
They were like, Travis Kelce seen leaving for camp early from Taylor Swift's hotel room. I'm like, who cares?
I know.
But their podcast was funny because now they have all of these oh my God, you're tight end? Hot. And they're like, no. They had to explain football.
Ah.
What's a down?
They did.
Is that like a downer? Oh my God.
Dawn will do her Valley Girl coming up in hour 2, 3, and 4 today. All right, 6:05. Speaking of Dawn, let's get to the news. Round number 1 here on a Monday morning. And for that, we go to the great Dawn Stensland.
And good morning. This Monday morning, October 2nd, Red October. We'll have all the details, the full forecast, which I think you're going to love. We're sponsored this morning by Holland Floor Covering. So in the news in Philadelphia this morning, we have 3 people killed early this morning in a shooting at a home in Philadelphia's Lawncrest section. According to police, this happened early this morning, about less than 2 hours ago. On the 6100 block of Shelburne Street, police and medics were responding to this home, finding 3 people dead in a front room, a 4th adult taken to the hospital for treatment for gunshot wounds. So they're now looking for a suspect who ran from the scene, asking the public for help and looking for, in fact, any surveillance images. We don't know the motive. We really don't have much more on that crime. And then Philadelphia police investigating a deadly hit and run in the city's Ronhurst section. The victim discovered on Bustleton Ave, near Solly Ave, around 3 o'clock this morning by a passing motorist who drives by and says, what is that? And the call does the right thing, calls 911, alerts authorities, and by the time they get to the scene, this person was pronounced dead on the scene. So police say they're now looking for surveillance video or images to try to learn more. No immediate description here of that striking vehicle. Police still working on confirming that victim's identity. And so 2 early morning crimes make police very busy this morning. And last week, of course, we had told you about the looters, nearly 60 who were charged with various crimes across Philadelphia. We're now learning that, in fact, Philadelphia police still looking at all the surveillance images, looking at all the social media images incriminating the very criminals who were really causing chaos on our Philadelphia streets, let's say. So Philadelphia police asking for the public's help now in finding these suspects.
Nothing like advertising your crime on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Wow.
So right now it looks like 61 individuals arrested in connection to the looting incidents. A lot of damage, many stores, nobody injured, but a lot of damage, and many people still not able to reopen or fully reopen, and as well bringing back their employees. Not the easiest thing in the world, because a lot of the employees are rattled by this across the city. And of course, the looting began last week. I'll just remind everybody, in case you're new to town or you haven't heard, the looting began Tuesday night. That followed an afternoon peaceful protest, which was all in response to all of the charges being dismissed against a Philadelphia police officer accused of shooting and killing Eddie Irizarry, a motorist in the city's Kensington neighborhood back in August. I'll point out that, in fact, the judge in that case had said that the prosecutors, the ADAs, failed to back up the charges, which you have to do during a preliminary hearing, and those initial hearings, the judge dismissing that, saying you didn't provide enough evidence to back up these charges. So DA Larry Krasner then recharging the officer involved, Mark Dial, who's 27 years old. So we wait now to see what happens next. Obviously, it got the officer out of jail because he had not made bail.
Yeah, coming up bottom of the hour, we have the update on Meatball. Not only is she selling merch, but she's retained an attorney. And wait till you find out what her attorney is claiming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. A little tease by Nicholas.
And it's not a surprise. Trust me, it's not a surprise.
Well, we love Nick Kayal in the morning, but there's another Nick. Nick Sirianni, congratulations. It's another Nick, a green Nick.
4-0. 4-0, people are still not happy. We didn't beat the Commanders by 35.
I know. Everybody whines.
By the way, our bet, Nick.
Yeah, what do we do with that?
So you had the over.
I had over, but no cover, and you had under, but no cover. So do I win? I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess you do.
I was thinking about that yesterday.
40 large?
Yeah, we'll just roll. I mean, we should just keep carrying it over throughout the year. We'll just keep track of the number, and we'll settle up at the end of the year.
You want to do that?
Yeah, that's the way they do it down on South Street.
All right.
You know.
And if I don't pay you, will you have some goons come break my legs?
I got a couple of guys down at 15th and Diamond.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, when they're not causing havoc at Temple, they'll come for your kneecaps.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we ready for some Eagles highlights?
Yeah.
EAGLES.
Eagles.
Woo! So they were making us crazy last night, you know, because we're watching, and all of a sudden we're thinking, no, we were supposed to win this one. These are the Commandos, after all, that we're playing the Commanders. And so Eagles scared the heck out of us when late in the game there, we saw the Commanders score in the fourth quarter. I think my heart jumped out of my chest as all of us saw that happening. So let's listen here as let's take you through it for some Eagles highlights. Eagles offense continuing to start slow, you think, other than newcomer and Philadelphia native DeAndre Swift, prep, who led the offense to their first TD in the fourth quarter. Things looking good. Here you go. Cut A.
Hurts again on the gun. He's been a perfect passer so far. This time he gives off Swift. Touchdown!
Nice.
Fantastic job of blocking.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Dawn, I know they have Kenneth Gainwell and they have Boston Scott, but DeAndre Swift is hands down their best running back right now.
Woohoo!
Hands down.
So now let's go to A.J. Brown, the man with the hands. We love his hands. Was a man possessed the entire game, especially in the second half. In the third quarter, Hurts finally finds A.J. Brown for a huge TD score.
Hurts back, steps up. He is looking for Brown, who makes the catch. He's at the 25. He's at the 20. He's cutting to the outside again. Cuts back to the middle. He's in! He was absolutely brilliant, negotiating his way downfield. He made the catch. Now there's a penalty flag back downfield. Let's see.
A spectacular catch and run. Just spectacular.
It's got to be against Washington, right?
And right away, they're going for two. You can look at Nick Sirianni. He's making sure that he keeps his offense on the field. They're going to go for two.
Yeah, personal foul against Washington.
Because they're naughty.
Am I out of line by saying that A.J. Brown at times can be as dominant as Terrell Owens was 20 years ago here?
You're not out of line at all.
I'm watching him. I'm like, this guy's a freak.
Yeah, when he's open, there's nobody better.
No.
There's nobody better, honestly.
And try tackling that guy in open space.
Yeah. I don't know why they haven't. It took to Game 4 for them to really utilize him.
I know.
You know what I mean?
They still haven't utilized Dallas Goedert.
It's true.
Yeah, he gets about as much work as I do.
There's just so many. There's so many weapons they have.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's
a lot of mouths to feed.
They're going to be a tough team to beat.
Agreed.
A.J. Brown, we love him. He's great. I think that Terrell was not as whiny on the side. I mean, A.J., if you don't give him that ball,
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's got a little T.O.
not
in him,
happy.
right? Like, he's got a little of that I need the ball constantly diva mentality. Just hope he just doesn't, start doing sit-ups in his driveway.
Or having teddy bear parties.
That's correct.
Remember that?
Oh, of course.
Hurts also got involved in the running game, of course, taking off for a 24-yard gain in the fourth quarter.
On first down, Hurts spins. Here comes the pressure. He gets away. He starts to run. He comes across the 30, 35, 40, 45, and out of bounds at the 48. Hurts shows the running skill right there, keeping his balance and picking up a gain of 24 yards. That was big.
It was big, and finally Jake Elliott, 8 for 8, continues to build on his repertoire with a huge game-winning field goal in overtime. Thank you, Jake Elliott, beating the Commanders. Merrill on the call.
Ball was spotted. The kick is away, and the kick is and the Eagles win. The Eagles win.
Lights out.
Jake
Boy, what a
Elliott
battle.
does it with his fourth field goal of the day.
Wow.
We should get Merrill, Mike, and Fetterman in a 3-person booth.
By the way, all that sound courtesy of our sister station,
Yes.
94 WIP.
That is correct.
And thank you, Anthony Dorenzo, for putting all that together. 34-31 in overtime at home. You're so lucky if you were at last night's game.
All right, Dawn, enough sports.
Okay, so you don't want me. So the Phils, I got to talk about the Phils really fast. If you don't want to hear, sing to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's exciting.
Yep.
We got the schedule yesterday, right? So game 1 is tomorrow, October 3rd, 8:08 p.m. on ESPN. Game 2, Wednesday, October 4th, 8:08 on ESPN. Greg Soccer, can we listen on our stations and then just watch? I can't stand the ESPN announcers.
Nobody can.
Yes.
So, and the same goes, I love our local guys, like Ike Reese I saw on the post game. So how does it work?
Yeah, I believe you can go to 94 WIP and listen to it along with the game. I'm not sure.
So
That's not my radio station, so I don't know.
So the Phillies are in the playoffs tomorrow on the 1-year anniversary of this show.
Oh, wow.
How about
Imagine
so
that.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look at that.
baby.
Yeah.
And on this day, because it is October 2nd, Shane Victorino hit that grand slam as the Phillies beat the Brewers 5-2 in Game 2 of our National League Division Series. So what was that, 2008?
Yep.
October 2nd. Remember the day.
I had hair.
I was there.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Nice.
All right, so let's talk about, because sports had us covered, we're the winners, and that's a good thing as we begin this Monday morning. Holland Floor has you covered, too. Holland Floor Covering is the region's premier flooring dealer, family operated for more than 50 years, providing exceptional service, professional installation. Visit their 2 showrooms in Wayne and Newtown. No charge samples, no obligation estimates. Learn more, hollandfloor.com. NBC 10 First Alert Forecast. We're going to feel like summertime. That's it. Beautiful, sunny, 80 degrees today, and much of the same throughout the week. You're going to love the forecast. This is Kayal & Company News Live.
All right, Don, thank you very much. 6:17 here on a Monday morning as we get ready for another Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal & Company.
All right, the Big Take. Welcome to the party, pal. On Friday afternoon, the news came down at Mediaite.com with the exclusive breaking news. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to announce that he will run as an independent on October the 9th right here in Pennsylvania. The 2024 presidential candidate is now planning to rev up his campaign machine and launch attack ads against the DNC in order to pave the way for his big announcement, which will come right here in the city of Philadelphia. That according to Mediaite's review of a text message that they received. Now, this is very big news and also kudos to Greg Stocker for calling this months ago right here on Kayal and Company. Now, a Kennedy campaign insider told Mediaite, quote, Bobby feels that the DNC is changing the rules to exclude his candidacy, so an independent run is the only way to go. Boy, where have we heard that before? Democrats changing the rules as we go along. Interesting. Kennedy has been trying for months to gain admission to the party, and he has been stonewalled legitimately at every turn. He wanted to primary Joe Biden, and the DNC was having none of that. He's a presidential candidate, and yet he was denied Secret Service protection. Think about that. All presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle are granted this courtesy, but not RFK Jr. The New York Times reported last week that RFK Jr. met with the chair of the Libertarian Party, raising the prospect of a departure from the party that decades ago became synonymous with his family's last name. So what is the impact of this announcement on the 2024 election? I still believe to this day we will see Joe Biden against Donald Trump in a rematch of 2020. As long as Joe hasn't been pronounced clinically dead, the Dems will do what they always do. They will drag him and anybody else through the race as long as they have a pulse and as long as Joe Biden has a pulse. And I also believe that Trump will win the Republican primary in a landslide. That's not a hot take or breaking news either. But make no mistake about it, RFK Jr. will be a factor. He's been shunned by the DNC. The woke progressive wing of the party thinks he's the crazy uncle at Thanksgiving. But he resonates with a lot of people. He resonates with classic old school liberals. And while he doesn't align with Republicans and conservatives on things like climate change and the environment, he does resonate with Republicans and conservatives who value the First Amendment and free speech. He also gains interest from those on the right who hate cancel culture and those that have been silenced and who are also against vaccine mandates. RFK Jr. has been labeled a conspiracy theorist and anti-vax. You know, the left loves to smear those on the right with the label of conspiracy theorist. But look at the last 3.5 years. Some, if not many of those so-called conspiracy theories have turned out to be fact or very, very truthful. For me, I like some things about RFK Jr. for sure, but I'm also tired of hearing about his family, their past tragedies, and his thoughts on vaccines. He needs to be uber focused on the citizens of this country, not himself and not his family. And the only thing that truly matters right now is the economy. So what is your plan, Robert? And then after the economy, what are your thoughts on the crime issue in this country, the southern border, energy prices, and Ukraine? Does RFK Jr. have the chops to be a global leader? Would China and Russia fear and or respect him? And could anyone take him seriously with his voice? Yes, it's awful that he has a vocal issue, but unfortunately, presentation matters, and he's tough to listen to. Kennedy remains far behind Biden in the polls, yet while the Times reported, quote, Democrats worry that a third party run by Mr. Kennedy could draw votes away from Mr. Biden and help elect former President Donald Trump, it's unclear whether such a run would hurt the current president more than the Republican nominee. Indeed, polls show Republicans have a far more favorable view of Kennedy than Democrats. As the National Review's Jim Garrity pointed out in July, when a survey asked New Hampshire Democrats to describe Kennedy in one word, the top responses were crazy, dangerous, insane, conspiracy, and unknown. I bet those polled in that survey were the far-left progressive faction of the Democratic Party, and I would argue it's dangerous and insane to vote Biden again because of the known. His policies have failed at epic levels, his approval ratings are in the tank, and the United States would look like an unknown by the time 2028 concludes. The economy is all people are talking about and all they care about, and rightfully so. RFK Jr. did tease his economic plan by saying he would bring back the 3% mortgage. Per The Hill, quote, as Kennedy points out, there has been a shift of $4 trillion in wealth since 2020 during the pandemic, from the working class to the super wealthy in the U.S. This is in part because of inflation. The average annual wage today is $5,000 less than the cost of basic human foods and human needs, transportation, and housing. 57% of American families would not be able to come up with $1,000 in cash in an emergency. Personal credit card debt has hit record levels, now topping $1 trillion. Home ownership among the middle class, always the bedrock of equity and advancement in the U.S., has been in a steady decline since the financial crisis of 2008. And just since 2020, the cost of the average home in the United States has risen 46%. to well over $400,000. Meanwhile, interest rates on home loans have spiked from below 3% to a current average of more than 7%. All of this at the same time as giant corporate entities such as BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard have stepped up their effort to corner the residential real estate market by swooping in to buy vast numbers of homes with cash offers. As of this spring, one study showed large corporations on track to own 40% of single-family homes in the United States in the next 6.5 years. These companies have now shifted resources into an additional business model of built-to-rent homes that also threatens to undercut private home ownership. In practical terms, this puts home ownership beyond the reach of millions of Americans. And Kennedy's proposal could change the tax code to disincentivize the corporate takeover and bring mortgage rates and interest rates back to 3% for millions of buyers. Because the program would be financed by tax-free bonds purchased by investors and only backed by the U.S. government, the cost to the taxpayer would be minimal. This could reduce average mortgage payments by around $1,000 per month. A huge boom to first-time home buyers and all working-class Americans seeking to buy a home. That courtesy of thehill.com. You see, RFK Jr., like him or not, he's anti-mandate, he values free speech, and he wants to make home ownership feasible again. It's not a bad start, as he gets his start in Philadelphia in just about 1 week. And make no mistake about it, he will be a factor. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
Yeah, all right, big take this morning. If you would like to jump in, thoughts and reactions, you can do so. 855-839-1210. Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. Or, of course, be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Thoughts and reactions to RFK Jr. coming up next, as well as Meatball Mania. Yes, we'll get it going here on a Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm looking at the opening line for Sunday, 4:05 game. Eagles at Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to make an unpopular decision here. I'm going to take the Rams plus 5.5 on that game. I don't think the Eagles are going to lose, but I think it's going to be close. I know, very unpopular. I'm going to be called the Rams fan soon. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. When you place a $5 bet, that's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you even think about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. I love the FanDuel app. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. Go to FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg, G-R-E-G, and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL and is the official partner of 1210 WPHT, so you know you're in good hands. 21 or over, President PA. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This Merrill Reese update is brought to you by PNC Bank. Make today the day.
What a win as the Eagles beat the Washington Commanders in overtime, 34-31. It was a 54-yard Jake Elliott field goal that sealed it. The Commanders gave the Eagles all they could handle, and this turned out to be quite an escape for the Eagles. The Birds are now 4-0 with the Rams up ahead. With the Eagles, this is Merrill Reese.
PNC's business banking team is built entirely around the way you like to do business. Need innovative mobile tools that let you manage your cash flow, monitor your payments, and more around the clock? You've got it. Need a team of business bankers who are ready to sit down and help you develop personalized strategies? You've got it. PNC is proud to be a part of the Delaware Valley community. Learn how PNC Bank can make a difference for you and your business at pnc.com/bank your way.
PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotics Assessment in Walmart today. Now in the foot care aisle.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Just a reminder, as I've been doing for years, about batteries plus bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My buddy Roy, this guy had the vision of old-fashioned customer service married with technology to build custom battery packs, smartphone repairs, game console repairs. Give him a call. Anything in the technology field, you'll get old-fashioned customer service and great technical skill. Call him at 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield stores.
Don't take shots just to lose weight. NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast without any of the side effects. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, the natural way. Go to njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
John was compensated for his time. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
It is Kayal and Company, 629. Good to have everybody in here on a Monday morning. Hopefully all of you had a great weekend and off to a good start here on this Monday. It's Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Get us for free on the Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube, 855-839-1210 to climb in on the conversation. So, yes, as Stocker said before the big take, we always seem to be ahead of the curve here on this show, and you specifically, Stocker. You saw this coming for many months and talked about it many times.
It's not me. It's everything that happens on the show is credited to this show. But I'm just saying that, like, we called it on this show, and then even people on my own radio station were like, no, that can't happen. No, that can't happen. And I'm like, well, okay. People who know more than me, I would assume, would know these things. And then all of a sudden, he's running third party, or allegedly. I know it hasn't been announced yet, but all signs are pointing that he's running third party. So I think this is a huge spoiler in the 2024 election, to be honest with you.
Well, it is. And Dawn, he's going to be doing this. Apparently, it's coming up a week from today, what they say, October 9th here in Philadelphia. And we've seen some of these polls where, people have fatigue from the drama from both Biden and from Trump. And, if there's those independents on the fence or those moderates out there that are, not sold on Trump despite the fact that their life might have been better with their 401k and things like that. And then they look at Joe and they're like, yeah, I don't know about this, that, or the. Like, I mean, he's got this ability, and I'm talking about RFK Jr., where he kind of appeals a little bit to both sides. There's like the left will never universally embrace him. And the right certainly will never claim him and welcome him, but he's got shades of both that I think just make him an interesting character, not only from a presentation standpoint, but just the fact that there's a little of he's got a little Bill Maher to him. He's got a little, Alex Jones to him. He's got some old school Kennedy to him. I don't know that you can really put him in a box, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think, he's very likable, and it's interesting when he's this dark horse and the outsider. But I also think we have to think about Cornel West as, he's a third-party progressive. I think that he's, the Green Party candidate, and I know Hillary Clinton, that crushed her. Remember at, what was it, Jill Stein, who she always says that those third and independent party candidate types. So I think the combination of a Cornel West who, is getting a respectable percentage. I mean, it's a tiny percentage, but now you look at the margins, and so you think about Cornel West, and then on top of it, if Kennedy runs, because some conservatives like Kennedy.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So then I think, okay, some people who might not want to vote for Trump, could some of them go to Kennedy? Yes, as the independent. But Cornel West, he takes straight hardcore D's for those people who don't like Bidenomics and think Joe's too old or whatever they think.
Which is hard to believe, and I guess maybe it's not because this is the world we live in, that anybody labeled a progressive would garner support, considering everything a progressive touches, they destroy. Prime example, crime in big cities, right? Like, it doesn't work. Progressive policies are an abject failure. Yet that there's always going to be this like market and demand for them. And I just look at Cornel West and I'm like, I don't know how anybody could get behind that guy.
But I think he's a long time like socialist activist.
Yeah.
He has a little, again, these percentages, 3% or 4% or whatever that is with the margin of error. But still, you have that tiny sliver that likes the guy as this socialist Green Party guy. And I think that they're looking toward the fact that his name will be on the ballot, in November in 2024. That hurts.
Yeah. The RFK Jr. thing, as far as, siphoning off votes from Biden and Trump, is interesting because I've heard both sides of the spectrum. We even quoted one person in the RFK Jr. camp or the Democratic side of things saying he's definitely going to impact Joe Biden and hurt Joe Biden. Yet there's also people out there, I think Kennedy himself, who says, I actually take more away from Trump than I do Biden.
We have RFK Jr. saying that. He said that on the Theo Vaughn podcast. This is cut one, Daniel.
Yeah, but and then the other thing is that I take more votes from President Trump than I do from President Biden.
Right, so why would that help them?
Yeah, it's not helping them.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, I guess he would know better than me. I would think it's pretty close to
The
50-50.
The polling shows that it's actually way more
really
ours than his.
Okay.
So,
I would believe that.
Yeah, it's he this is a I think because people like Joe Rogan and Bill Maher and those guys who, Bill Maher would never vote for Trump. Joe Rogan has said on his podcast he would vote for Trump over Biden. If RFK gets in and it's third party, he's 100% voting for RFK.
Wow.
So people like that mindset who I told you about that gathering I was at with a bunch of union Democrats. Those guys probably would not have voted for Biden. They may have voted for Trump, but with RFK Jr. in there, they're 100% voting for him. So yeah, look, I think it siphons away a lot of votes for Trump. Now, is it enough to matter at the end of the day? I don't know. But I think it's I think third party out of any year, between Cornel West and this guy, I think third party out of any year, this year is the year for 2024, meaning is the year that third party makes a big splash because people are just so they don't like Biden or Trump.
It's and I'm spitballing here, but if Trump believes that RFK could be a thorn in his side as far as peeling votes away, do you entertain the idea, if you're Trump, of making RFK Jr. your VP?
I said that last week. I said that last week.
At least having the conversation.
I said that last week. I think it would do him very well. It would serve him very well. I do.
I'm going to be very selfish and greedy here from a show content standpoint. If those two together on a ticket became a reality, we would have the easiest job in the history of radio. Because everything those two say or do draws headlines. They're polarizing individuals.
I don't think RFK Jr. would do it, to be honest with you.
Okay. Why? Because he wouldn't want to sell out the family name as a D?
No, because I don't think this whole notion that he likes Trump, he doesn't. So I don't see why.
Well, Kamala doesn't like Joe.
He would. Well, yeah.
I mean, do you have to like the person you work with? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I've been in radio for long enough to know that people don't like each other and they work together every day. So, I mean, you can kind of put that together and be like, you know what? We've got some similarities. Yeah, set aside differences. I mean, that's all about stroking egos and winning anyway.
And then what about Joe Manchin?
Yeah. Yeah,
There's so much swirling. It's just every day. You can't make this stuff up, Hal.
Think about all the other people that are just kind of lurking. Like you've got Biden and Trump in the ring, right? Like imagine if this was like a wrestling match. And on the outside of the ring, here comes DeSantis. And then here's Youngkin. Here's Manchin. Here's RFK. Wait a minute. Is that Gavin Newsom coming down the aisle now, too? It's like everywhere you look, you've got all these other little X factors that are just kind of looking for their, like you like to say, Greg, trying to find their lane. Like Chris Christie's lane is trying to bully and bash and trash talk Trump. Everybody else is just kind of waiting to see the way the dust settles, so to speak.
That's because of the polling that shows the unpopularity of both candidates. That's why everybody is like, waiting in the wings to see what happens. Like, will Joe run again? I know he said he's going to, but who knows?
They're all like a bunch of sharks circling the boat because they smell blood. And it's weird because Biden is being bled to death with just awful results. Trump's got legal drama, and he's kind of bleeding, but he's polling at an unbelievable level. Like, arrow down on Joe, arrow up on Trump, yet everybody still senses weakness for both. Very odd.
Yeah.
Which makes good for good radio. I like it. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. All right, we got to get to the Meatball. The Meatball is a very interesting character. Our favorite sound drop on the show right now in our sound drop power rankings is Everybody must eat. And even when it comes to attorneys, high-priced attorneys, whether they are paid for by a GoFundMe or from a client itself, you've got the latest story coming out over the weekend, and you knew it was just a matter of time because the lawyer for Meatball is slamming the all-out assault on the, quote, vibrant 21-year-old as racist. That's right. It's racist. Everything that has happened to Meatball in the last week is because of racism. And the lawyer says that she live streamed, and we're talking about Meatball here, the crime spree merely to capture the raw reality of the public outrage. That's correct. Jessica Mann is Blackwell's lawyer, okay? And she wrote on social media on Friday after we got off the air, quote, "It sickens me to witness the media's complicity in what could be only described as an all-out assault on black and brown people, as their character and actions are mercilessly vilified." After Meatball was released on $25,000 bail Thursday, she begged her fans to pay for a lawyer and then urged people to buy the new Meatball merch, buying clothing and hats from her brand.
Meatball merch.
Meatball merch. I mean, she's...
I'm a capitalist and a corporate whore.
She's worse than Stalker begging for Kayal and Company purchases on the show. So she hires this attorney named Jennifer Mann, who also criticized the media for posting her mugshot with tears streaming down her face and her hair being a mess. Blackwell, meanwhile, has uploaded the mugshot as her profile picture on social media and hinted she might even print merchandise featuring the mugshot. She's actually a lot like Trump, if you think about it. Both have been arrested, both mugshotted, both have tried to say they're the victim and then capitalize on the mugshot to rally the troops, right? And I was just thinking about this. The audacity of this lawyer with Meatball claiming she's the victim here. No, the raw reality, it's not the raw reality of public outrage that she was filming. She was filming the raw reality of crime and the raw reality that she was inciting violence. Let me ask you this, because I brought up Trump. Could you imagine if Trump was live streaming on his phone January 6th and he was shouting, "Everybody must eat"? He would have been given the gas chamber by now. Like, this is so predictable, yet so disgusting because, and you know what, I don't know if Jessica Mann is a white attorney, a black attorney. It really shouldn't matter. But as an attorney, I understand what your job is. You want to defend the client. I got that, right? She's entitled to defense. But don't sit here and say that this is racism. Racism didn't lead to her showing up and inciting this violence, coordinating it, which led to 6 felonies. And I just love this as well. So you're telling me Meatball doesn't like all the attention. She only likes the attention when it comes to selling her merchandise. When it comes to sitting in the can, getting mugshotted, crying, "I'm disheveled. I don't even know what's going on. I'm tired. I haven't had any sleep. Thank you for your support. Can you please pay for my bail? Can you pay for my defense?" Meatball likes to have it both ways. She wants to be a social media influencer under this social justice garbage. But then when all of a sudden reality sets in and she's arrested and charged with 6 felonies, she feels like she's the one under attack, which I love that. Everybody's always under attack these days. And then the attorney plays the race card. You knew it was coming, yet with it being a local story and everything we've had in this city for the last 3.5 years, some of which I was not here presently for when I was living in Tennessee, it's just like, how do you ever move past any of this stuff? This is the kind of garbage that will keep circulating in this city, and you wonder why our city's in complete chaos and disarray.
Well, what this does is it really just it's making her more famous, and it's making people who see this, younger people who see this and be like, hey, I can be an influencer, I can be an Instagram star too.
Yeah,
want to do it. So we're glorifying all of this. But, so like the lawyer playing the race card. I mean, lawyers be lawyer. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do.
Like a tiger.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't see this I don't see him. It's absurd. But they need some sort of, because literally what is her defense?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
She's
so when you have no defense, play the race card, which to me is just so dangerous and irresponsible.
Yeah.
Because we never move past this. Oh, this person is targeted merely because of their race stuff. It has nothing to do with her. If this was a bunch of white people, you still committed the same crime under the same pretense.
You might argue, though, if you're a lawyer, the fact that she writes an open letter and is essentially, first of all, she's saying that her client can't get a fair trial. Okay.
Can't get a fair trial. You're never going to have a better trial opportunity than in this city.
Yeah, it's true.
She says it's an unjust portrayal. The truth is, you could take Jessica Mann's words and you could actually apply them to any of the police officers accused. And that's the ironic piece of this.
And that's the truthful part of it.
And then we have in New York City that bodega owner who's suing Alvin Bragg, their version of Krasner, right?
Yep.
The bodega owner suing, saying that he's a victim of racism because he's not a black guy stabbed in self-defense, an African-American. Remember that? Had to go to Rikers and was in custody, blah, blah, blah. So all of this, it's fascinating to watch this, but I have to say, if I were her attorney, I mean, what other defense do you have?
Yeah. Well, here's what I would do. If I was Meatball's attorney, I would say, look, you've got a lot working for you right now. You're a female. You're a minority. We're also going to let the public know that you're part of the LGBTQ plus community. Then you'll check off all the boxes.
Yeah.
Because when you got those 3 working for you, LGBTQ plus, female, and minority, you can get away with murder.
Not only will we find you not guilty, we'll crown you king.
Yes. Yes. You might actually be the next mayor of this city. You will be. And there's actually, there's pictures around the city on social media of graffiti all over the walls about free Meatball and Meatball this. Like, she's got a base. She really does.
But, we talked about this last week. I will say this, that the media was reporting that Mayor Jim Kenney was calling her out and saying that she was the face of this. I didn't see a soundbite with him. So did he really say those words? Because if that's the case, this lawyer has a better case.
Yeah.
If the mayor of a city that has been a disaster and he's sort of throwing a 21-year-old under the bus, if I'm the attorney, I'm playing that up.
And by the way, the Meatball merch, you can get her pink hoodie. It sells for $45.
Oh, man.
Cute.
Yeah. And she also said in a video over the weekend that, sorry, as you guys can see, I've got a lot going on tomorrow. I'll be out shipping all the orders and be doing delivery. So she actually not only is her own business and brand, she's her own Amazon delivery driver.
By the way, Kayal & Company merch, way better.
Yeah, I agree.
Way better.
And at a better price.
1210WPHT.com if you want to see the merch store.
But there is some irony to all of this, that if she is somebody who sues with this lawyer, ends up suing, not just fighting in her defense, but ends up suing Krasner and Kenney, I mean, you got to say that irony is delicious.
It's just unbelievable. What a time to be alive.
I know.
855-839-1210 is the number. When things aren't going fast enough or in your direction, you can do one of two things. You can play the race card, or you can pull the fire alarm. We'll pull the fire alarm coming up next on the first hour on Kayal and Company.
Now, you know a company is looking out for you when they actually upgrade your service and then don't charge you for it. This is great news for new and current Pure Talk customers. Pure Talk just added data to every single plan, and they're now including mobile hotspot with every plan and no price increase at all whatsoever. Now, if you've not made the switch yet to Pure Talk, now is the time. For $20 a month, you're going to get unlimited talk, unlimited text, and 50% more 5G data and mobile hotspot, and it's only $20 a month. Now, this is why I love Pure Talk. They use the same cell towers. They use the same exact 5G network as the big carriers, and the average family saves close to $1,000 a year from this veteran-owned company with a customer service team that will make your switch fast, simple, and easy. Just dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now. Do it now. You save an additional 50% off your first month. Pound 250, keyword save now from Pure Talk, and you won't regret it.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
You know, the last time WPHT travelers visited Italy, they discovered northern Italy. But this time, we're headed south. Yes, southern Italy on a gastronomical tour. This is the most beautiful coastline in the entire world, the Amalfi Coast. You know, I'm looking at all these images and travel videos of southern Italy. It's so beautiful. And I just feel like I look at these paintings and all these videos and I think, take me away. So come with me. Let's escape together. Join me for 12 magical days in luxury with the professionals, top-notch professionals, once again, from Conservative Tours. So, you know, if I'm putting my good name on the line, taking my family, I want to travel with the very best tour operator in all of Italy, and that's what you want too. So you want my friends at Conservative Tours. Nobody does this better. A+ rating, of course, with the Better Business Bureau. We're going to take the high-speed jet foil to the Isle of Capri, $52.67. This includes your airfare, luxury hotels, fabulous dining events. We're going to be talking about this years from now. So call toll-free 888-733-9494. You can go to conservativetours.com. Italy's best-kept secrets, the Abbey of Monte Cassino, Puglia, medieval Caserta, Sorrento, Pompeii, and of course the great sites in ancient Rome. All of this and more. Please join me next spring in Italy. See you on the Isle of Capri. Call now 1-888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal Company, 652, live here on a Monday morning. Good to have all of you in. Nick, Dawn, and Greg here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. What's on the cut sheet coming up 7:45. Also have some news coming up in hour number 2 with Dawn. Very interesting weekend, though, on Capitol Hill. And we've got really two different things to discuss, two issues and two topics to kind of get into around everything that was going on as we reached kind of the deadline Saturday night at midnight with a work stoppage and a government shutdown. But I want to start with one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen. And it's remarkable what these can get away with versus what ours do not get away with. But if you were not paying attention over the weekend, House Republicans lost their mind, and rightfully so, as they reacted to Jamal Bowman, who's one of the squad Dems from New York, a Democrat, and his fire alarm pulling shenanigans on Saturday, where we've even reached a point now where some people are calling for him to be expelled from Congress. If you don't know or you didn't see over the weekend, it was pretty viral on social media. There was pictures of Bowman pulling a fire alarm on Saturday, the same day that the Republicans began voting on the stopgap bill to avert a government shutdown. And the squad member claimed that he thought it would open the door rather than set off the alarm. Yeah, it's like seeing the bat phone if you're Alfred and you think that's the phone you normally pick up to call Commissioner Gordon. No, that's not the way it works, and we know that.
By the way, how old are you when you realize that the big red thing that says fire on it is...
My 9-year-old twins are aware.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous. It's like, well, I thought this would open the door. No, you didn't. That is the worst excuse I've ever heard.
That's correct. Capitol Police and the House Administration Committee both investigating the incident. Kevin McCarthy saying that there needs to be serious inquiries and will warrant further investigation, saying, quote, I'm going to have a discussion with the Democrat leader about it. This should not go without punishment. This is an embarrassment. We'll get to some stuff with McCarthy and Matt Gaetz coming up in hour 2. But Bowman had the audacity to say the following as he released the statement. I want to personally clear up confusion surrounding today's events. Today, as I was rushing to make a vote, I came to a door that is usually open for votes, but today would not open. I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm, mistakenly thinking it would open the door. I regret this and sincerely apologize for any confusion this caused. But I want to be very clear. This was not me in any way trying to delay any vote. It was the exact opposite. I was trying to urgently get to a vote, which I ultimately did and joined my colleagues in a bipartisan effort to keep our government open.
Well, this is circa 1994 when I was in 9th grade, and I pulled the fire alarm because I didn't study for the history test.
Soccer didn't want to take the test.
I just thought it was I just thought it was the opening to get into to Mr. Brown's class.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it was actually the fire alarm. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just another thing. I mean, Dawn, it's almost like they don't care how dumb they look. They're just going to tell you whatever ridiculous excuse they can come up with, and you're just supposed to accept it and move on.
Well, that's what you see. We should all learn from this because everybody who went to January 6th should say, "Oh, I was on my way to a picnic.
Right.
I accidentally went by the Capitol and it was open.
I thought there was a buffet down here, and I'll be damned, I was in Nancy Pelosi's chair. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Total mistake.
Yeah, I deeply apologize. Oops.
Oh, my God. He pulled down a fire alarm as a grown man. And, oh, by the way, it's the most secure building on the planet with cameras everywhere. You didn't think you were going to be caught? Come on. Jamal Bowman. I'm telling you, this is why the squad Dems, they are a disaster.
Well, we have...
You can see the screen grab, by the way. Sorry, Greg.
AOC defended him. She was on one of the Sunday shows. I will play that for you coming up at 7:45.
All right, 855-839-1210. We'll continue that conversation on the other side. And also, Congress passing this stopgap bill to avoid a shutdown. But we have more of a rift within the Republican Party between Kevin McCarthy on one end of the spectrum and Matt Gaetz on the other. Dawn always says, get it together, GOP. Once again, they are not. We'll get to that as we kick off hour number 2. But you know what? If you're in the market for a vehicle, it might be time to kick off truck season. Yeah, I know it's 75 and sunny this week. It's nice out. But before you know it, it's going to be bad weather, and that's truck weather. You want to plow through all that tough Philadelphia, Northeast Pennsylvania weather? Piazza Auto Group. Let me tell you about the 2023 Honda Ridgeline. It is a fantastic truck. It's very economical. It's not going to kill you at the gas pump. A lot of really, really strong torque and power without the 8-cylinder, without the 400 horsepower, without the 5.8-liter Hemi and things like that. And it's beyond affordable right now. If you're a truck person like me, now's the time to visit Piazza Honda in Springfield, Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading, and take advantage of 0.9% APR financing. But you know what? If you're not a truck person, that's okay. The Honda Civic, the Accord, the CR-V, the Pilot, and more, 0.9% APR special finance rates. The Piazza Auto Group, 17 brands, 35 locations. It's my go-to for all things automotive. To find your new or certified pre-owned vehicle today, just visit them at piazzaautogroup.com.
Have you been dreaming of a new shower to replace your slippery, ugly old tub? We're not talking about those cheap wraps that cover your old bath. PJ Fitzpatrick can install a low threshold or low entry, fully customized jacuzzi shower system in just one day. It is surprisingly affordable and it comes with a lifetime guarantee. Visit trustpj.com to set up a free design consultation and take advantage of generous fall promotions. That's trustpj.com.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotics Assessment in Walmart today, now in the foot care aisle.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and this is my show. What, you expecting something different? Whether you're looking for deep, insightful dives into the day's top sports stories, that's why we have guests, right, Nigel? Or simply how to get change for 100, you'll find it on the Tony Kornheiser Show. From football picks, from the best prognosticators in the business, including a monkey, to real-time baseball playoff analysis, to traffic in an area where you don't live. We got you covered. My friends come on, and you know them. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal and Company podcasts.
So I'm back to the velvet underground, back to the floor.
7:01, Kayal and Company. Hour number 2 underway here on a Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. What's on the cut sheet at 7:45? Also, a very cool prize today for our morning mystery movie clip. Disney keyword has come and gone. That was September, folks. It's now October. Where's the fall? Like, the fall's a third of the way over already.
Yeah.
It's going by quick. Tomorrow's the 1-year anniversary of the show, by the way.
Wow.
So for those of you who didn't think we'd make it past 6 weeks, you lost that one.
We are 1 year old.
1 year old. That's correct. Good stuff. Also, maybe a surprise guest tomorrow that I think you might enjoy. He's kind of funny.
Actually, we have 2 surprise guests this week.
We do. And maybe a third. We'll see. And, of course, we have Tony Bruno. So it's going to be a very good week.
That third that you're talking about is pretty much confirmed, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So.
All right.
Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday. Thursday.
Cool. Yes. And look, we don't do a ton of guests on this show, but if we have guests Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they're probably pretty darn good.
Yeah, exactly.
So stay tuned for that. Dawn's got some news coming up here in just a moment. Front page, I just tweeted this out. The front page of the New York Post today has a fire alarm on the front cover, and it says in red, "Does this look like a door handle?" Rep Bowman's absurd alarm excuse exposed.
Yeah.
They literally have a picture of it's your classic fire alarm handle. That if I asked Olivia and me, I say, girls, do we touch that? No, we do not touch that. But don't tell a squad den that. You do whatever you got to do to delay things.
Here's what I don't understand about it, because this whole thing is just, it's odd. It is like his excuse is BS. But the one thing that doesn't, there's two things that don't sit well, is that what he would have evacuated wasn't the Capitol. It was whatever building he was in.
Right.
So it wouldn't have affected the vote on Capitol Hill, because it wasn't in the Capitol that he pulled the fire alarm.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
And also, this vote was so kind of
lopsided.
Yeah, that I don't know.
You're just delaying the inevitable anyway.
Exactly. And you would think that he would want to go and vote for this, or, you know what I don't know.
I can't get into these people's minds.
It's just really, the whole thing is odd to me.
It's just insulting to our, intelligence. Dude, are you kidding me? That's the best you have?
Yeah. Robert Schwartz on the YouTube chat says, "Did you book Meatball?" You'll have to tune in on Thursday and find out.
Everybody must eat. All right, it's time for Dawn to eat, because Dawn's got the news. 7:04, round 2 on a Monday morning, and here is the great Dawn Stensland.
Well, thank you. Good morning. On this Monday morning, October 2nd, you're going to love the forecast, full forecast just ahead. We are sponsored this morning by Malvern Retreat House, and so much news, so much happening this morning. Let's take you there. It's a busy morning for our Philadelphia police officers. Some deadly incidents early this morning within just the past few hours, unfortunately, as they search for suspects. 3 dead, 1 injured in the shooting that happened. This is in Philadelphia's Lawncrest section. So they're now searching, they say, for a male suspect. So we don't know if this is a teenage suspect. They're saying male, not man, but driving a blue Honda Pilot and may have Pennsylvania tags. So that one inside a home, apparently. So we don't know, was it a home invasion? Was it a domestic situation? We just don't have the information or the details, with the exception of the fact that they're putting this out as a breaking news story and continue to update us on that one. As well, there's a mystery that happened with a deadly hit and run in Ronhurst in Philadelphia's Ronhurst section. So we don't have the name of the victim being released. Bustleton Ave near Solly Ave. Just a few hours ago, somebody was driving in for an early shift, sees something that looks like a body on the roadway, on the side of the roadway, calls police, alerts authorities. They rush to the scene and, yes, find a victim dead on the scene. So we don't have details and no immediate description of the striking vehicle. We simply know this was a hit and run, and we're awaiting to hear from Philadelphia police, who may be holding some kind of a news conference to give us more information on the victim's identity, what happened. But they're putting this out there, actively investigating this one and looking for a hit and run driver as well in Philadelphia. Wow. I know. It's just so sorry that just some tragic news. We're reporting this morning. They're also on a lighter note. Let's talk about the fact that we do have the Powerball lottery jackpot won more than $1 billion, and this one, where we know that there's a drawing that's happening today. The odds of winning this, 1 in 292 million. Those are your odds.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Powerball jackpot. Yes, there's a chance. But you hear the saying, 1 in a billion. This, by the time the drawing happens this evening, I guess it'll be 1 in 300 billion.
Yeah. Truth be told, as much as I love wagering, whether it's on sports or playing poker or roulette at a casino, I don't think in my lifetime I have ever contributed $1 to a lottery.
You've
Really?
really?
I don't think I know that's
Wow.
probably odd coming from me because I'll bet on whether the sun comes up the next day. But like, no, I don't think I've ever actually played like the Daily Number, Mega Millions, Powerball, or any of the other. Actually, I take that back. The only time I've ever played a state-funded lottery was when my mother-in-law would get us some scratch-off tickets in our stocking stuffer at Christmas. Everybody's like, you have any pennies or nickels? We got to see if we have a winner here. I'm like, why? You're just a waste of time.
I was going to say, you're not from the Lehigh Valley unless you've gotten scratch-offs in your stocking.
Christmas in Bethlehem.
The Pennsylvania kind.
Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Ah, yes. And we've talked a lot about the UAW, a lot in the news on a national level, but I just want to remind you about another union, more than 1,000 SEPTA workers voting to authorize a strike if one is needed. So this vote came in yesterday, and members of TWU, Transport Workers Union, Local 234, unanimous vote here. The union representing 5,000 bus drivers, trolley operators, mechanics, and ticket takers. So the current contract does not expire until Halloween. Okay, but so this is early. That's a good thing. So SEPTA releasing a statement saying that they're hopeful that an agreement with the union can be reached prior to the expiration of the current agreement.
Boy, between all the, derailments and malfunctions and accidents and those T-bone collisions and now this, there's a lot of bad PR for SEPTA lately. You notice that? They're a lot like Temple University. When they're in the news, it's nothing but negative.
I know, it's so true. But I think that all the unions, everybody, you look at the UAW coverage, Biden went to that picket line and spoke out and said, I'm the union guy, I'm the union president. So now they're all saying, show me the money. Right?
Yeah, of course.
So show me the money, baby.
Back it up. Back it up.
A lot to talk about and a lot on Capitol Hill as well. And I know we'll get into all of that. But we are sponsored this morning by Malvern Retreat House. Visit Malvern Retreat House, the nation's largest Catholic retreat house located in Chester County. Malvern Retreat House hosts men and women's retreats, couples retreats, spiritual direction, recovery retreats, so much more. Retreat from the noise, hear God's voice at malvernretreat.com. We know that today at 11, we are expecting District Attorney Larry Krasner to speak out, give us an update on the looters, the arrests. Kayal just told you about Meatball and many of the others facing felonies. So we do have a news conference coming later today.
Don't be surprised if she ends up being put in one of these diversionary programs. I was getting tweets over the weekend, and I forget, I should be able to pull it up and know the name of it's not a bill, but it's basically a program that was created by the DA's office that almost really looks like something that a defense attorney would advocate for. And keep in mind Krasner's past history, so it makes sense. I got a feeling right now, if I had to go and put it on a bet, I bet you she ends up in one of these programs where there's never going to be any jail time.
Yeah, and that's consistent with what happened. If you think about all the people who were arrested, what was that, 1,000 people nearly in Philadelphia that summer of all the riots and businesses burned down and, how many dozens of officers injured.
Yeah.
And about 1,000 people were given this mass amnesty. So it would not surprise me if the 61 people arrested thus far, if they did not commit violence. It would not surprise me, Nick. If they don't have any priors, we know some of them do because we've talked about it.
You talked about the guy who punched the guy in the head and he died.
So, they're trying to revoke the bail for him.
Right.
But for Deja Blackwell, 21 years young, hardworking businesswoman, even on bail. So
she's a capitalist.
Yeah. So I would not be surprised if they say, let's give her a diversion program.
Yep.
No priors.
No doubt about it.
So I'll point out to you, Eagles win. We're 4-0.
And by the way, we're now one of only 2 undefeateds left.
Yeah.
It's us in San Francisco. Miami got smashed yesterday.
They did.
By Buffalo.
Yeah.
Speaking of Miami, so we face the Fish, right?
That's correct.
We got a filet de fish starting tomorrow, Game 1, October 3rd, 8:08 p.m., and all these are at Citizens Bank Park. So a lot of excitement this week. Game 1 Tuesday, then Game 2 Wednesday, October 4th, all evening games. oh, everybody's going to be so sleepy this week.
I can't.
Yeah, I just got
Right?
to figure out, is that a best of 5 or 7? I don't want to make the same mistake as I did a year ago.
Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Game 3, if Thursday, October 5th, if needed. It said Phillies releasing a fan schedule too. So even if you don't have the tickets, they have starting tomorrow, and that's a great idea. 10 o'clock in the morning, the New Era Phillies team shop. The store opens 4:30 in the 10 to 4. So that's kind of neat that they're doing a lot of activities, and we'll be talking about this. Block parties. You don't have to have tickets to celebrate our Phils in the postseason. Red October.
Greg's just hoping that they go on a deep run so that there's a conflict with them and the Eagles so that we get one of the games on our station. I know how he's thinking.
I mean, I may have said that out loud in a meeting last week. What's the likelihood that they're going to keep going and
It's a likelihood that we could get a 30 share.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
We love being the winners, and what a winning forecast. NBC 10 First Alert forecast, 81 beautiful degrees today. Feels like summer this week with the return of so much sunshine. Sunny today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and partly sunny on Thursday. We don't really see any significant rain until, unfortunately, the weekend. No. But Friday, but they could be wrong. They're wrong a lot. But let's hope they're not wrong for the beginning of the week. But we're in the 80s. In fact, on Wednesday, we soared to 84 degrees. So in the 80s with a lot of sunshine, at least through your Thursday. That's the NBC 10 First Alert forecast. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. Coming up next, let's get to the other aspect of what transpired over the weekend on Capitol Hill. As Republicans in disarray, Kevin McCarthy touting some sort of victory, Matt Gaetz saying Republicans didn't get anything they were promised, and once again, we have a divide within the GOP. And also, John Fetterman with an interesting comment or two that I don't think he's completely wrong about. We'll get to that when we continue. It's Kayal and Company live here on this Monday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Climate anxiety, which is fear of the future and the unknown, and whether it makes sense for you to think about aspiring to buy a home. What will this climate be?
I like that nobody wants to buy a home because of climate anxiety.
Yeah, it's not because they can't afford homes. No. It's not because of 7% interest rates and the fact that a middle-class home is now going for $850,000. It's not that. It's climate anxiety. These idiots. How dumb do these people think we are?
Rich Cioli, weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
I'm living the life that I lived before I started having knee pain 10 years ago.
Meet Julie, a woman who makes the most of every moment in life. But over the last years, those moments were filled with agonizing pain until she discovered QC Kinetics.
Finally, the pain got so bad that people around me are like, oh, when are you getting your knee replaced? I was walking, hobbling. I listened to my last QC Kinetics commercial and I said, I'm done. I got to find out about this.
What Julie found out was QC Kinetics treats osteoarthritis with regenerative therapies, taking your body's own healing properties and concentrating them in the areas where you feel pain, helping heal and restore those damaged areas. No harmful steroids, surgery, or downtime.
It changed how I'm living. I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
Get back your life before the pain. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you feel like you're always looking for another energy boost? Well, skip the artificial choice and try increasing energy at the cellular level. Orosine from Rescue Natural Supplements helps our body produce the natural fuel to get rid of that stubborn feeling of fatigue. Plus, Orosine helps support a healthy heart and blood pressure. Right now, Orosine is buy one, get one free for our exclusive radio listeners. Just use the code FUEL, F-U-E-L. When placing that order, call them today at 800-26-LIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use the code online when you visit res-q.com, res-q.com. Again, be sure to use the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, for the special buy one, get one free offer on Rescue Orosine. This is a clinically proven, heart-healthy way to naturally boost energy level. Remember, use the code FUEL, F-U-E-L, at res-q.com and do it today.
There are so many terrifying political and economic trends tearing down the global economy. But your retirement does not have to collapse with it. The exclusive crash-proof retirement system guarantees over 5,000 consumers not only survive, but thrive despite market volatility, guaranteeing protected growth that cannot be taken away.
My name is Robert Sims. I live in Levittown, Pennsylvania. The interest credited to my crash-proof retirement system can never be taken from me. With all the debt that the nation has, I am leery of where the economy is going to head long-term. I feel good about where I sit with the crash-proof retirement system, regardless of where the economy goes in the next 5 years or so, because it has delivered on its promises.
Reserve your seat to see America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system at Springfield Country Club, October 24th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
I can't wait for the spring. Yeah, I love fall. I love this season, but next spring, you got to escape with me. We're heading to southern Italy on a beautiful tour of the most gorgeous coastline in the world, the Amalfi Coast. I want you to join me for 12 magical days in luxury with the best professionals, once again, from Conservative Tours. So I want to travel with the best tour operator in Italy, the biggity big. The best. Nobody does it better than my friends at Conservative Tours, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So we're going to take the high-speed jet foil to the Isle of Capri. Stunning. $52.67. That includes your airfare. Luxury hotels, fabulous dining events. You're going to remember this years from now. Just call toll-free, 888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. How awesome does this sound? The Abbey of Monte Cassino, Italy's best-kept secret, Puglia, medieval Caserta, Sorrento, Pompeii, and of course we'll visit the ancient great sites in Rome. There's so much more too. Just join me next spring in Italy. See you on the Isle of Capri. Call now, 888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Don Stensland this morning at 10. Kayal and Company now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 719. It's a Monday morning. Hopefully all of you doing well. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. What's on the cut sheet coming up at 7:45 this morning. Also still ahead before the cut sheet, a couple of interesting things in the world of Donald Trump. From Donald Trump and Nikki Haley, Trump has thoughts on Kelsey and the Swifties. And also Trump's beer can sales, not that he's really affiliated with, but his picture is on the can, the mugshot, selling like hotcakes, like the opposite of Bud Light. It's remarkable. We'll get to that as we continue. But the second half of what transpired on Capitol Hill this weekend is pretty tough and pretty painful, I think, if you are a Republican. So Congress passed a last-minute stopgap bill to avert a government shutdown. And notably, the funding package does not include aid for Ukraine, a demand that Democrats had rallied around. But within just hours of the midnight deadline, the Senate passed a temporary measure to avoid this shutdown, despite Mr. Bowman's efforts to, sound the alarm, literally, and slow things down. The bill funds the federal government at current 2023 levels, and that'll go through November 17th. The package was approved on Saturday afternoon by the House by a vote of 335 to 91. The Senate passed the bill on Saturday night with a vote of 88 to 9. And if you know how a bill works and the process that goes with it, it will now go to President Joe Biden to sign into law. The bill includes an additional $16 billion in natural disaster aid. However, the bill does not include any Ukraine aid, and Biden blamed, quote, extreme House Republicans for, quote, the manufactured crisis. But I just wanted to say this because I'm watching it kind of play out a little bit Sunday morning. I actually watched a couple of minutes of the Sunday shows, and then I was looking at some video clips, and, Matt Gaetz was, I believe, on with Jake Tapper. And this is not any new drama within the GOP, right? Like, we get that. It took Kevin McCarthy, 15 rounds, I think, to become the Speaker of the House. And, that whole fiasco back in January into early February. And then, the House Republicans were slow out of the gate with investigations into things like Biden, things like COVID, the origins. And everybody was like, getting their panties in a bunch. Well, you've got all these investigations. Let's go. What are we doing? Get to work, so forth and so on. And this is no surprise to anybody. Kevin McCarthy does not have overwhelming support within the Republican Party. And the Republican Party is kind of fractured and splintered into two groups. You have the McCarthys of the world, the swamp monsters, the establishment, call them a rhino, call them what you will. And then you have the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Matt Gaetzes of the world, the more conservative aspect of the Republican Party. And I'm literally watching this play out in real time. And I'm actually going to get to a quote from Fetterman in a moment. But I've got Dawn's voice in my head. And all I hear is Dawn, get it together, GOP. This is where Democrats do that. Democrats get it together. And this is once again, Dawn, where I think it's so embarrassing watching. And I get it. Some people within, if you're a Republican, listen to this show. I'm just going to guess more of you are hardcore, more conservative than you are moderate. But there's obviously different degrees of conservatism, and there's different variations of what a Republican is. And we can sit here and have the infighting, and we see it really at the federal level, too, all the way up to, I can't go with Trump, so I got to go with DeSantis, or DeSantis is lame, I've got to go with Trump. There's that divide as well. But it's just, we sit here and we get caught up in this manufactured clown show circus drama. And meanwhile, as dysfunctional as the left is, and they've got their segments and factions, the Squad Dems being one of them, that are clearly different than a classic liberal on the Democratic side of things. And you've got the whole woke section and triggered by everything. And then you have the other side where you have a Ro Khanna who, he values the First Amendment and free speech, so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, we're going to be the ones end up sitting here looking like the fools. Because we fund these people, we pay their salaries, they go in there and have all this drama. It's like General Hospital or Days of Our Lives or WWF Monday Night Raw. It's a theater, it's a production, and at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Democrats are going to win. Democrats are going to win. That's what's going to happen. And it's not a swipe at any one Republican within the party. I'm just tired of the sideshow circus act from all of these individuals, where I feel like our House and Senate are just filled with crisis actors. And that's on both sides, from AOC to Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's like they're all drama majors putting on a show and a production, and we as a party get embarrassed. Our nation on the global scale gets laughed at, and we're sitting there funding all of this by paying their salaries. So I just have your voice in the back of my head. I think maybe you need to mediate between McCarthy and Gaetz and get these guys on the same page. And I'm not going to defend. I don't really want to defend McCarthy, but when you're in the position he's in, sadly, there are negotiations and concessions you have to make. It's kind of, to steal a phrase from Trump, it's kind of the art of the deal, is it not?
It is, but the truth is that there were a lot of Democrats who did not want to vote for this thing. I was at the gym of all places Saturday afternoon when this whole thing, and I'm watching all the different monitors, Planet, this is the one of the gyms we belong to, Planet Fitness, right? Mm-hmm. So you see CNN, it's the bias. It's so fascinating to just watch that. But anyway, the bottom line is that the Republicans did look good as far as they got the stopgap measure, and they did come forth with it. Yes, there's infighting because, in truth, this is how our founding fathers wanted it. It's a bureaucracy on purpose so that you have these battles. That's how it really was designed. But on the other hand, the power struggle between McCarthy, and there are calls. I mean, this morning I'm seeing, granted, more conservative media reporting on this, but they're saying they want to expel Matt Gaetz if the ethics committee report against him comes back with any findings of wrongdoing.
Yeah, Gates wants to strip McCarthy, and McCarthy wants to kick out Gates. I mean, these two, I think they legitimately despise each other.
So I think at some point it starts to look like a genuine personality conflict because you don't see it's Matt, right? It's Matt versus McCarthy. I just think it starts to look really personal. But at the end of the day, the truth is they got it done. They forced the hand of Democrats who didn't want this to go with the stopgap. And the truth is they need to talk about everything that we're paying for. Our deficits, this is historic. What is it? 33 plus trillion freaking dollars. Of course we should look at every item. Of course we should have more transparency. So the bottom line to me, like Friday when we looked at it and I thought, oh no. And then even Saturday, I thought they're going to get this done. And they did.
Yeah.
They, and so I think, all right, let them have their infighting. They're busting each other's chops. That's what they're supposed to do. And they're tough.
Well, Gates is mad because he feels like they didn't get enough or they didn't get what they were promised. And then he's accusing McCarthy of a backdoor deal with the Democrats and Biden. And it's just like, some people say, okay, victory here for Republicans. But yet the hardcore conservative faction, the Gateses and the Marjorie Taylor Greens, are ticked off. They're not happy about it. And it's a disaster. And this is not just about Republicans. This is about Bowman and what the stunt he pulled in. And this kind of just really encapsulates the weekend. It's bad in politics when John Fetterman is had it with all the sideshow circuses. The guy that wears a hooded sweatshirt and cargo shorts, he's had enough of the debacle. He said the following, quote, "I voted at 8:30 p.m. on a Saturday night. That's my job." By the way, that really ticks Fetterman off, that he has to work on a Saturday night. He's gone Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays without working. So damn well he doesn't want to be there on a Saturday. But Fetterman said in his statement, "But the American people should never have to worry about their government shutting down. Pushing the snooze button solves nothing." By the way, Fetterman, pulling the fire alarm solves nothing either. He says, "Because these same losers will try to pull the same bleep in 45 days. I voted yes tonight to keep the government open, but I'm done normalizing this dysfunction. This is not entertainment. It's governance. We must not allow the government to turn into the Steve Wilkos show," which, if you remember, Steve was like the security guard on the Jerry Springer show. You got Fetterman basically. Think about how crazy it's been for the last week, where Fetterman is speaking down to Bob Menendez about his debacle, and then Fetterman's trying to be the voice of reason and get rid of the dysfunction that led to him working at 8:30 on a Saturday night. That's where we are with our politics today.
Yeah, but to me, everybody, look, we pay attention to this stuff.
Yeah.
We do over the weekend, right? The average person heard Friday, all the media is saying, it's a showdown and the government's going to stop and blah, blah, blah. And so this morning, what do they hear? They hear, they got it done. We have, but they're not funding Ukraine, right? And it does not have any new financial assistance for Ukraine. It does allocate the disaster relief funds. It keeps on going. And so the House resumes work this morning. The average person goes, okay, they got a stopgap, no problem. So to me, when I look at this, what I say is this. These things always go poorly because you guys are always looking at the sports past. You know what I mean? The last time all right, if you look at politics, every time the government shuts down, the media, of course, is complicit in this.
Right.
It doesn't go well for the Republicans. So this time around, they don't look bad. The Republicans look like they worked all weekend. They got it done. Just get something done.
Yep. 855-839-1210, the number. Cut sheets coming up at 7:45. But on the other side, Donald Trump in the news. His thoughts on Kelsey and Swiftie, the beer can success, and also Trump and Nikki. Apparently it's for the birds. We will explain what that means on the other side of Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. I'm looking ahead to the opening line for Sunday's game, your Philadelphia Eagles, and the LA Rams in LA. The opening line right now is 5.5. I'm going to make a very unpopular decision. I'm going to take the Rams at plus a 5.5 for that game. All you have to do is, for new customers, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Place a $5 bet if you're a new customer, and you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you have to do is sign up at FanDuel.com/Greg. That's FanDuel.com/Greg and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL and is the official partner of 1210 WPHT 21 and over. President PA. First online around money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms of sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in the Philadelphia region. QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, not so fast. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint, which repairs and restores that damaged tissue. Imagine living life, especially this fall, with no more pain in your knees, your aching shoulder, your back, your hips. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Just call the local medical professionals, get a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Within 5 years, half of America's workforce will be freelance in some capacity, either part-time or full-time. This is why experts say companies need to adapt and incorporate expert freelancers. Jiley Spiegelman, Fiverr Pro General Manager, has more.
Many companies are urging workers to return to office this fall. Instead, they should be focusing their efforts on managing a diverse workforce. It's the new normal. Companies across the world have a mix of remote employees, hybrid workers, and freelance talents.
The pandemic accelerated the freelancing trend, and it shows no signs of slowing down. The number of freelancers in the U.S. and their revenue continues to grow year over year. Nearly 80% of companies today rely on freelance talent to supplement their full-time workforce.
Freelancers are an asset to businesses. They quickly fill skill gaps and bring fresh ideas. Fiverr Pro is the new premium business solution from Fiverr, where businesses can find freelance talents to perfectly fit their needs.
For more information, visit pro.fiverr.com.
Hi, it's John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sunday mornings at 8 and again Sunday afternoons at 4, right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHC. Are you struggling with things like fatigue, body aches, headaches, brain fog? You may be living with Lyme disease, and this may be true even if you have received antibiotics or your Lyme test was negative. Dr. Molly Fantasia and the healthcare team at Innovative Medical Associates have used medical hydration therapy to help hundreds of patients to reduce symptoms often associated with post-Lyme disease syndrome.
I want to get you through your initial challenge, working alongside with my physicians, and then get you to a place where we are looking at maintaining your immune system, maintaining your quality of life.
Visit innovativemedicalassociates.com to schedule a free consultation with Dr. Molly in their Marlton, New Jersey office. And join us Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 to learn more about the benefits of medical hydration.
Hey, Percy, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Remember to take us anywhere with the free Odyssey app.
All right, Country's coming up 7:45 this morning as we continue. Kayal and Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. We've got some COVID stories to get to after the cut sheet, as well as the Philadelphia Inquirer now demanding that Curt Schilling be taken out of the Phillies Wall of Fame. Or I should say off of the Phillies
really?
Wall of Fame.
We're doing this now.
Time to cancel his career.
It's bad enough. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get ahead of this.
That's fine. We'll get to it. Difference between the Hall of Fame and the Wall of Fame, but I've always tried to separate somebody's politics or even crimes they commit in their personal life from their sports accomplishments.
Let me just say this, that you go from something that I think most people agreed was egregious, and then you take something like this and it turns people on the other side. It's like, well, you know what I mean? Like there are very few people that had sympathy for Kurt Schilling.
That's correct.
And now all of a sudden, you're going to get people who have sympathy for Kurt Schilling.
Right.
Because he shouldn't be canceled for this.
You beat a dead horse to death, and then all of a sudden it works against you.
Yeah.
Which is, as we've said, anytime you try to cancel something, it actually has a weird way of wrapping back around and blowing up in that person's face.
It's never the effect. It's never the intended effect they want from it.
That is correct. All right, so Trump's in the news for a variety of reasons. We'll get to the Nikki Haley story in just a moment. But, of course, another football weekend comes and goes, and Travis Kelce and Mama Kelce and Taylor Swift are in the news. And Trump, in classic Trump fashion, when he was out in California towards the end of last week, said the following in regards to the relationship between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. He said, quote, "I wish the best for both of them. I hope they enjoy their life. Maybe together, maybe not, most likely not." That's like, isn't that just like the perfect Trumpism right there?
Exactly.
It's like he starts off real positive, and then he has his doubts, and then he's like, actually, you know what? It'll probably fail.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just so, and then last night, Sunday Night Football, she was there. She had Blake Lively and Hugh Jackman was with her, and Sophia Turner, I think, or whatever that woman's name is.
Yep.
And it's just like, it becomes a spectacle. It was a great game last night, the Chiefs and the Jets. It was another 3-point game. And, like, the entire attention was on the fact that Taylor Swift was there.
Well, and then also, too, a lot of the reporters between the 4 o'clock games and then the Sunday night pregame show were documenting and chronicling the travels of Mama Kelce. Because Mama Kelce was at the Link for the Eagles game.
Yeah.
And then she got on the Turnpike and went up to East Rutherford, New Jersey
it's not that far.
to see her other boy.
Great mom.
Yeah.
It sounds like a dawn weekend right there.
I know, right?
Driving around in the minivan and getting to boys' games.
But can we stop with this, like the New York Post, with the Travis Kelce seen leaving Taylor Swift's hotel room in the early mornings? Who cares?
So, you sound like an old grumpy.
Who cares? Nobody cares.
I think it's cute.
Do you?
Yeah,
do you really?
Because Taylor Swift. I mean, so I've been to only one of her concerts with Stacia, my bonus daughter, my stepdaughter, but who loves her. And so we've watched Taylor Swift grow up. She's from Pennsylvania originally, Christmas Tree Farm here. They moved to Nashville, and she dated all these wimpy guys. And now I like the narrative. She's dating this hunky football player.
Pimp for Pfizer.
This is not like a cis, what do they call it? I can't even, like a sissy guy, whatever. This is like a manly man.
Yeah, he drinks Bud Light.
And, can I tell you something? I can't even say this.
And too, like, I remember how viral my tweet went last week about Kelce.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I got a couple people like, you do realize that Travis Kelce would knock you out in 5 seconds. I'm like, I'm aware of that. Of course he would. He's an NFL player.
And his big brother, who's the better brother.
But I like his brother.
have.
Yeah.
But I just think I love the narrative that now you have because football was being canceled, right, by the mainstream media and by all these people who thought it was like toxic masculinity.
Never being canceled. It's the most popular thing in America. It's never being canceled.
You and I think that.
It's not a safe sport.
It was not a safe space. It was toxic masculinity. It was the Freddy frat boys, blah, 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 blah. Now you have
need to get off of right-wing Twitter.
No, now you have Taylor Swift, who is making all of her fans, the Swifties, now love football because, oh my God, like Taylor, she looks so great in the box. I want to go to one of those games. What's a tight end? What's a first down, third down? It's kind of cute. I like the narrative that she's making football popular and non-toxic for all those, woke individuals who thought that it was.
She's making his jersey sell. He's gone from like the 15th hottest selling jersey in the league to top 4. And I think he picked up, like they were saying, that's where we're at now in football broadcast, where we got to be told that Travis Kelce's gained 700,000 new followers on Instagram thanks to Taylor Swift.
Oh, God.
But we made it about politics on this show. We just told you last week that Taylor Swift actually got 35,000 new voters registered. 34,999 of which are Democrats.
Yeah, to all the people saying, "What are you talking about Taylor Swift?" is because she's very influential when it comes to elections.
I'm telling
and
you.
anybody who doesn't think that is naive.
Yes.
Well, so what?
I agree with you.
You're allowed to be an influencer.
She is.
And so I don't care if she's getting people to register to vote and to be aware. Fine. I don't care. I mean, my whole thing is if she's part of the conversation and gets a whole generation to be aware of politics, I'll just say this: a lot of her fans are those suburban moms who are in school, have kids in school now, who are very concerned about parental rights right now.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. We'll see where this all goes, and also where her, as she now grows up, right?
Yep.
And now she's in with the Kelseys. I don't think that the Kelseys are progressive or far left liberal individuals.
No.
Nope.
Travis is. I don't think Jason is, but I think Travis is.
Travis.
I think Travis. He either is or he's just really good at cashing in on big time endorsements.
Travis is He's living life large, and he look, not to be mean or anything, but let's just say this: Big Brother's the brighter and the better of the bunch. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Well said.
I mean, he has two rings. Okay.
No,
he does have two.
He's a great athlete. Nothing against him. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I just think he kind of goes with the wind.
Got the IQ of a paint can.
Cute. He's a cute, athletic guy.
Yeah. Okay.
He's cute.
All right.
Nice.
Speaking of bird brains.
Yeah, speaking of bird brains and dodos, is it safe to say that the Trump-Haley thing will never happen now, with Nikki potentially being his VP?
Never say never in politics.
After this weekend, I have my doubts. So Nikki Haley is now saying that the Trump campaign sent her a bird cage. And we actually have, I believe, the picture.
We do.
So if you're on YouTube, Stalker, I guess you would go to that and check it out and hit all the buttons, right?
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. So it's a bird cage with bird seed on top of it. It says from Trump campaign because they called her a bird brain.
Yes, at the debate.
So it's a bird cage and it says from the Trump campaign. I guess it was sent to Nikki Haley's house or headquarters or whatever. She tweeted this out and said something to the effect. Well, you have the story in front of you. Sorry.
So I mean, some are saying that it could be the dead bird Petey from Dumb and Dumber, that you sold to the blind kid. But no, as we were talking about at the debate, Trump referred to Nikki Haley as a bird brain following the second consecutive debate in which many pundits declared her the winner, and I think she's done really, really well in all seriousness. But that you saw the picture of the bird cage. So now there's back and forth between whether it was really the Trump campaign or Nikki Haley's team planted it there. But the Trump campaign has actually come out and said that, yes, we did do that. But Nikki Haley tweeted a following message. After a day of campaigning, this is the message waiting for me outside of my hotel room, Haley tweeted, adding the hashtag pretty pathetic try again, and you just made my case for me. And that was actually the picture of the cage that Stalker showed on YouTube.
Yeah, it's up there right now if you want to see it.
I mean, I don't care who did it or what. I think it's pretty funny.
I mean, when I first saw this, I thought it was like a Smollett thing where she was just setting this up. But you're saying the Trump campaign,
the Trump campaign has taken responsibility for it, which I kind of applaud. Like, hey, we did this. Yeah, we're gonna own it. And oh, by the way, we're not going to deny it. So I don't think Nikki Haley is a bird brain. I think she's really smart, and I think she would make a really good vice president. And I've also said, too, I mean, in the first two debates, sans Trump, I think the three biggest winners in no specific order have been Ramaswamy, Haley, and DeSantis. I think Nikki has done a really good job. She's held her own. She's shown that she's strong and spirited. Don't necessarily have to agree with her on everything, especially with Ukraine. I feel like she's very pro-war. But other than that, I think she's done a nice job. And you know what? I think this should be a badge of honor for Nikki Haley. You know, if the Trump campaign really did this and they're thinking about her and using the nickname and the bird brain and she's living in their head a little bit, I think that's good for all parties.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of drama I like.
I know.
The McCarthy, Gates stuff annoys me.
Oh, it's boring.
But this stuff... I mean, this is like the sophomoric end of politics, right? And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I mean, with one of the Trump cases going to court today, and jailbird references. I can't believe anybody from the Trump team actually did this.
That's a good point.
So you're claiming hoax,
or just anybody could have sent it.
Well,
I just don't think they sent it.
You can have somebody from the campaign that has nothing to do with their court.
Are they
stuff.
taking credit?
They're taking credit for
They're
it.
taking credit for it.
Right.
I mean,
Not smart.
It's not like Trump's wasting his time putting this together.
Trump didn't. I mean, this is his people thinking they're funny.
Yeah.
But when you have a jailbird type reference on the day he's going to court, that was not smart. And he's going to, excuse me, he'll be all over somebody who did that.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he did it.
You don't think he did? Okay. All right.
Personally.
Okay. 7:47 as we get to a Monday installment. Always a great edition from the weekend shows on the Sunday shows. It's time for a Monday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Monday is sponsored by Cherry Hill Volvo. By the way, you talk about, I have 3 pages, if you're watching right now on YouTube, I have 3 pages full of cuts.
All right, so the cut sheet will go until about 8:48 today.
Of stuff to get to today. So much stuff to get to. Cherry Hill Volvo. They have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Thank you, Cherry Hill Volvo, for sponsoring the Monday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet. We talked a lot about Representative Jamal Bowman pulling the fire alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Been a bunch of conflicting reports about why he did this, and then he gave some lame excuse that he thought it was to open the door.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be one of the lamest, worst excuses I've ever heard.
It's like the game show of what's behind each door.
Yeah.
Let's see, and what's behind door number 2.
And I pointed out, Nick, that he was in a different building. He was in a different building, not the Capitol building, which would have affected the vote. But Raymond writes me on Twitter, and he said the fire alarm was pulled in the office building that houses the Congress critters, their offices. The alarm was pulled before the vote when many members were still in office or en route. McCarthy added an amendment last minute that Dems wanted to delay on and vote to read.
Okay.
So that seems to be the
context.
What I think is a good reasoning. But AOC defended him on Jake Tapper's show on Sunday, saying it was just a moment of panic.
Yeah.
This is cut 18, Daniel.
Progress on things like guaranteed health care in the United States of America.
There was an interesting moment over the weekend when your New York colleague, Congressman Jamal Bowman, and he's under investigation for this now after Capitol Police say he pulled a fire alarm in one of the House office buildings. Democrats were trying to delay a final vote on the bill. There he is pulling the fire alarm. He says it was an accident. He thought pulling the alarm would open a door based on the fact that the doors to his right there were locked, and there was a sign that he said he was, I think someone said it was confusing. I'll be honest, it doesn't really make sense to me, his explanation. Have you talked to him? What's going on there?
I mean, listen, I think if you actually do see some of the photos of the signs, I think there's something to be said about the government's about to shut down. There's a vote clock that's going down. The exits that are normally open in that building were suddenly closed.
No, stop.
So you pulled a fire alarm?
So
Come on.
What I am here to say is that
man.
House administration and U.S. Capitol Police and Jamal Bowman are an active, and he's fully participating in saying there was a misunderstanding. But what I do think is important to raise is the fact that Republicans, representatives like Nicole Malliotakis and others, immediately moved to file motions to censure, motions to expel, before there has even been conversations that are finished to even see if there was a misunderstanding here. But what they did do, while they did that, what they did not do was to commit to the same when George Santos was actually found guilty after a thorough investigation of 13 federal charges. He's indicted on everything from wire fraud to actual lying of House investigators. And they have been buddying up and giggling with him on the House floor.
If you're AOC, don't you or if you're Jake Tapper, excuse me, don't you throw in here that's not the question?
Yes. You gotta interject and say, come on.
Yeah.
This is the oops, I'm an idiot excuse. And we're all supposed to, And Jake Tapper needed to be tougher. And trust me, if that were a Republican who had literally pulled it, can you only imagine Jake Tapper would be all over it? Every Dem, every liberal media outlet would be crucifying the Republicans. Oh, this is an insurrection. Pull the fire alarm.
It's a threat to democracy.
It's a threat to democracy. They threaten the safety of every elected official there.
It's nice to see that Jake Tapper's level of outrage on a scale of 1 to 10 was able to reach a 2 there. Yeah. I mean, and then AOC just immediately pivoting to a non-answer. And if
she's got nothing.
Can we actually go back to that clip where you see the picture of Bowman, where it's the freeze frame where he's reaching? So what she's claiming in that video clip there is that would open up the 2 doors to his right, which if you've watched on YouTube, it's like a double-barreled door. It looks like you're like exiting the walkout on the steps outside and exit the facility. How could anybody logically arrive at the conclusion that, well, first of all, just seeing the fire alarm, we know that it doesn't open doors. But that pulling of that alarm is going to open that double door? Come on.
No, that's just it. If it were, when you hear him saying it, I think he's a dingbat again, an idiot, thinking, oh, well, nobody's going to see me doing this. So he's allowing people to infer that it's one of those doors where you push on it, and by pushing on the door, the fire alarm goes off. Yeah. But that's not what happened here.
I'm telling you, these squad Dems, you have AOC, you have Bowman, Omar, Bush, Booker, the 3 down in Tennessee that almost got expelled. These guys are all, and guys and girls, they are all stooges. They're just so painfully.
But liars.
I know, and they don't even care.
No.
They just don't.
They think, oh, we'll just all stay on the same page. We'll all lie about it. And we'll get away with it. And they probably will.
Yeah.
But this was, seriously, and House Speaker McCarthy was correct to say, hey, this is on par with January 6th. You are putting people in danger. He's using their same rhetoric that they used for January 6th, even for people who did not commit any violence, right?
Of course, the media coverage will be completely different today.
Of course.
Across the
They'll
board.
just ignore it, Nick.
Right. Well, because most people just don't see it over the weekend, so they will talk about it today, and it'll just be like that.
Guys, we talk about media coverage. I mean, like this is happening on CNN. Like they're asking her about it on CNN.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about like the shows today across both networks, MSNBC and CNN.
Okay, media thing just gets a little tiring. All right, AOC. She continues.
Okay.
And they are protecting someone who has lied to the American people, lied to the United States House of Representatives, lied to congressional investigators, but they're filing a motion to expel a member who, in a moment of panic, was trying to escape a vestibule. Give me a break.
Escape from
and
what?
So the idea that there is somehow any kind of equivalence to someone who is actively trying to clear up a situation that he himself admits he's embarrassed. He released a statement last night. He apologized. And they are protecting someone who has not only committed wire fraud, not only defrauded veterans, not only lied to congressional investigators, but is openly gloating about it, is absolutely humiliating to the Republican caucus. And I think that they should really check their own values.
There's another Republican who's been indicted also that they've been defending. But we
see that?
But
he
we
accepts
don't have the time
her
to
answer.
go into all of those charges, 91 of them. Congresswoman Alexander.
That's a good point. He immediately and inexplicably lets her out the back door. And so what I think the follow-up, and Dawn, you're the journalism major, you tell me, the follow-up should be, or the continuation should be, what does George Santos or Donald Trump have to do with Jamal Bowman pulling a fire alarm?
Nothing. And what they needed to do was to say, okay, so you're saying that let's take this, we slow-mode this. Let's just take the images and you take us through it. So as he's standing there, now we see him reaching out to the side of the door. Now we see him pulling, I would slow-mo the whole thing. Now we see him pulling a fire alarm, which is on the wall. Let's just, and you're saying what now? And do you really think that anybody believes that? He needed to be tougher. So yes, of course, he does what he thinks is due diligence, because he would look like an idiot if he didn't say something.
Right.
But he lets her have that answer, which is total BS.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and there's another Republican. Oh, since we're on the, let's just throw more fire on this one. Oh, let's get on the bandwagon of bashing more Republicans. It's baloney. And the fact that, and that right there is going to tell you exactly what they're going to do. They're going to smooth over it. Maybe somebody will report on it this morning. There will be nothing more about it. Period.
On a separate note, in that picture of Tapper and AOC, I don't know if Valdez can freeze frame the close-up of AOC and maybe put her in box 4 for a little bit. It's one of the best looks I've seen from AOC, by the way. She looks really good there. I'm just going to say that. And I don't care if anybody's mad about it.
That's the kind of analysis that we care about.
We just broke down all the actual stuff that matters. But on to the more pertinent things, like AOC looking pretty. That's a good look for AOC. She doesn't have the demonic possessed eye look. Like she's hosting a hostage
This is Nick
video.
Kayal.
She
very lonely.
Yes.
She
incredibly lonely.
She looks
He's
good.
lonely.
She looks good when she lies, right?
Yeah. One way to put it.
Over the weekend, both Trump and DeSantis were at
DeSantis.
DeSantis.
They were in California doing dueling speeches. So let's start with Trump. He was at a PA or a California GOP convention out there over the weekend. He spoke. Ron DeSantis also spoke. We made reference to this earlier. He was talking about the looting that's happening right now. This is cut 13, Daniel.
These people are killing people when they go into the stores. You'll have 300 young people who are not looking for a good future walk into a store, big department store, and just pillage it. And if you happen to be there when they're there, they'll knock the hell out of you and kill you in some cases. And we will immediately stop all of the pillaging and theft. Very simply, if you rob a store, you can fully expect to be shot as you are leaving that store.
Wow.
By the way, you notice the elevation in the voice real quick, too? I love when he does that.
You can fully expect to be shot.
It's like Joe, when Joe goes from whispering to shouting, except Trump actually has like a good delivery to it and to emphasize a point. Obviously, I think I do believe he's being facetious there. You can't shoot shoplifters. I've said tongue-in-cheek at times when these people act out of control and are rioting and looting, put their lights out with rubber bullets. I'm not sure that I really mean that. But no, look, here's what you need to do. You have to get back to law and order. And Trump's a law and order guy. Put the fear of God into these people.
Well, let me ask you this: But wouldn't the fear of God of them thinking if they walked into a Walgreens and just were going to take everything they want, and all the security there had machine guns, they would think twice about doing it, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, yeah. And then as soon as somebody discharges one gun, it's racism and it's lawsuits and the whole thing.
But it would stop. It would stop the looting if there were armed security guards there.
Well,
you'd like to think.
The truth is, though, that that individuals know that nothing's going to happen,
right.
And it's the culture,
right?
And so just stop the culture of the lawlessness, and that's I think like Nick, he's obviously being sarcastic, although I'm sure this will be played over and over and over.
Oh, it already has.
Cannot have a president saying that they would shoot somebody for a misdemeanor shoplifting crime.
But I think he's making a greater point, which is we're not doing anything.
But you know what? There's been plenty of stories and instances of looting and rioting where there's security guards that are armed or police in the presence, and people still act a fool anyway because they don't believe that the officer's ever going to pull out their weapon anyway. So I mean, you'd like to think that would be a deterrent, but in this day and age of district attorneys not prosecuting people, they know they're going to get away with it. And that's the problem. That until you start hitting people with mandatory minimums and you start making people post $100,000 bail and things like that, because the criminal knows they're going to get back out on the street for little to no money. Or in like Meatball's case, she had to put up what, $2,500?
Look, I'm just gonna say it. I'm all for shooting looters.
Stop.
But law and order stalker.
No, the bottom line is we're not going. We just need a lawful environment, and we've gone crazy. We've gone crazy right now. I don't like mandatory minimums, quite frankly. I don't.
Oh, really?
I think that all they need to know. I mean, Meatball, she was surprised that she was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
She was surprised. Many of these looters are surprised. They didn't realize there's a new police commissioner and a new administration and a new culture.
But is arresting them enough?
No,
No.
They were surprised. They were arrested.
She's
and
actually going to
they've been
profit from her.
processed.
She's going to profit from her mugshot.
I think
she's being processed, and whatever happens, it's more painful than we saw in the past. Keep in mind, there were looters who burned down businesses who the mayor and the DA 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago, said, okay, go freely, and we're going to wipe your record clean.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge contrast from that.
I'm telling you that if these looters and these shoplifters, if they think that there is a chance that somebody in that store or wherever they're looting is armed and will shoot on command, there will be a lot less of it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
true.
that was his point.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's the same theory with prison. Like if people know that if they commit a crime, they're going to go to jail and get the key thrown away, they might be less likely to commit the crime.
Well, that's why I think mandatory minimums are good, because I think they are a deterrent. And if you do this act and you're guaranteed you're going to spend 90 days in jail, there's no plea bargains, there's no whittling it down to a lesser charge or a diversionary rehabilitation program of community service and a small fine and time. Hey, you're going away, and trust me. You start going into those facilities, you start thinking twice about it.
Yeah. But I think, yes, that clip was played over and over again on Twitter over the weekend, and it was played on. I understand. I'm sure Morning Joe led with it this morning. I understand, like, the brazen nature of it, but you don't think there's a majority of people that agree with that?
You're probably right.
Like, it's you know.
You think some on the Democratic side actually agree with that as well?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I think that
especially if you're a business owner.
Yeah,
or
you
shop
can
owner.
you can feign outrage by like, oh my stars, I can't believe a former president of the United States said that. But like at the end of the day, I feel like the majority of people agree with that. Like no, there shouldn't be cops there, just mowing down people as they're doing whatever. But like. If these looters and these criminals think that there's a consequence for what they're doing, they're going to stop. And by the way, guns are a huge deterrent, a huge deterrent.
Yeah.
So I just think that the sentiment of what he said was absolutely correct.
It's just I'm going to go back and localize it and just to highlight the sad state of affairs. I mean, we're living in an era where a cheesesteak shop is now open once again with armed security guards in line, standing out on the street so that you feel safe when you're 13 customers deep getting ready to drop $9 on a steak sandwich.
Yep.
So, but to your point, maybe that's a deterrent. People aren't going to try to, carjack anybody there or try to rob the establishment.
Pretzel Time on YouTube. By the way, youtube.com/@1210WPHT if you want to follow along. He says, you guys realize Krasner right now is actively working on lessening those charges for the looters from Tuesday, right?
Of course. He's holding it. We said this early this morning that Krasner is holding an 11 a.m. news conference to update us on it.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying is that there's no consequences, so these things are going to continue to happen.
Yep.
Trump also took some shots at Biden, did some impressions of Biden. He was really on his game on Friday night.
It has to be when you're in California.
Cut 14.
Gavin has become crooked Joe Biden's top surrogate, I think, because he doesn't think Biden is going to make it. That's why he's doing it. He doesn't think he's going to make it, and it won't be him so easy. He's going to have a big fight. However, because there will be a lot of Democrats competing, it's going to be very interesting. But let's see. Look, some people say Biden's going to make it. Does anybody think he's going to make it to the starting gate? I mean, the guy can't find his way off of a stage. Look, here's a stage. Here's a stage. I've never seen this stupid stage before, right? I've never seen it. But if I walk left, there's a stair. And if I walk right, there's a stair. And this guy gets up. Where am I? Nah, he's terrible. Terrible. You know, I'm much tougher on him than I used to be. Out of respect for the office, I was never like. He's the most corrupt president, the most incompetent president we've ever had. But when they indicted me, and then again and again and again, I was never indicted. Now I'm setting records. Al Capone was not indicted so much. Alphonse Capone. If you looked at Al Capone in the wrong way, he'd kill you. He was not indicted like me. I was never indicted. I didn't know. When they taught me at the Wharton School of Finance, they didn't talk about indictment. It's a disgrace what's happening. They've weaponized elections. They've done everything. I mean, these are very bad people. But I used to talk relatively nicely about them. I wouldn't go out of my way. I wouldn't say the things I say now. Now I'm just all in because these people are bad and they're dangerous, and we have to stop them. I wouldn't say what I say now. I never did. I'd joke. I'd have a little fun with it, but I wouldn't call him. I call him the worst president in history. I call him the most corrupt president in history, and I call him the most incompetent president. Other than that, he's doing a fabulous job, I think, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing a fabulous job. Along with crooked Joe Biden, Newsom is also killing our car industry. Your cars are ridiculous, what's happening.
So it's very interesting, two things there. That's about as much negative commentary as I've heard Trump give Gavin Newsom, because we were just talking about this last week with the Gavin Newsom factor and, you know, the kind of the weird continuity, so to speak, between Trump and Newsom. But that was right there. That was A-game Trump from a presentation and speech standpoint. And I still can't believe that there are some people that are polled. When people get polled about the cognitive abilities of Biden and Trump, there are some out there that think Trump is in cognitive decline. If I would have just played you that video or the audio and said, what year was that from? You can't tell really any decline in Trump from the last 7 years.
Or tell somebody that who just spoke as a 77-year-old man. Like you're like people like really?
Oh,
so, yeah.
64, 65? Oh, 77?
He also dropped an F-bomb.
I love this. This is good. By the way, can I get this on the board? I'm going to need this on the board.
With the MFer to be
I know.
To the indictment.
Yeah. This is Trump dropping the F-bomb in California.
What they've done is they've gone after opponents so that if you become president or some other job, but if you become president and you don't like somebody, or if somebody's beating you by 10, 15, or 20 points like we're doing with crooked Joe Biden, let's indict the mother. Let's indict.
I saw that on Saturday. I watched that 30 times in a row. Let's indict the mother bleeper. And of course, that clip in that video that you're watching on YouTube, you see the graphic. MSNBC was all over that, talking about that. So, you know, I'd love to know the media watchdog websites, how many minutes were spent on Trump's MFer drop versus how many minutes on MSNBC were spent on Jamal Bowman. Just wondering.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
But again, he gives the ammo. He gives.
Of course he does.
He gives the ammunition.
But that's hilarious. That right there, that is why he resonates.
I agree.
And that's also what triggers the people that say, I'll gladly take $5 a gallon. Just no mean tweets and that unpresidential stuff.
I do agree, but on the other hand, I know that he's doing a ton of these rallies and it all resonates, but you know, on the other hand, there's a sliver of people who he knows he triggers. And so why?
Because he's never going to change him. So if you can't beat him, embrace him, right?
I've never heard him say that. To
really?
That level. Drop the MFer.
Oh, please. He's a businessman. He does it all the time.
There was.
Why don't you have other audio drops of him?
Well, no,
saying
I don't mean in his speeches.
Right.
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
So you don't think that this resonates? This resonates better than.
I think it resonates with his base. Yeah. But I just think
I think this resonates.
Moving forward, let's just have this be the only one that they captured you doing in the speech where cameras were present. I'm just saying.
He talks about being targeted, and they come after him because he's the outsider and he's the threat. This is why I think a clip like that, and we've showed you some of the polls, we've played you some of the video clips where he's kind of chipped away at Biden's big lead that he once had on Trump with the African-American community, with the Latino community. This resonates with people that aren't uppity-up global elites.
That's true.
You know?
You're right.
Because that's the way the common man talks. I hate to say it, but men walk around and say mother bleeper.
That resonates more than anything Ron DeSantis is going to say.
I mean, it's not nice to say in front of a lady. Certainly there are the religious people or Christian people that don't like curse words. Right. I got it. But for the average everyday 9-to-5er that probably drops a mother bleeper 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I mean,
the religious people are the ones that swear more than we do. Please give me a break.
But my point being, there are some people that don't like that language. That's all I'm saying.
Respond on?
He's doing great.
Okay.
Look, does it dissuade? I mean, does it dissuade my vote? Nope, it doesn't.
No, of course not.
But the truth is, I do know people from 2020 who voted for the third party candidate, and we talked about the fact that there are going to be 4, maybe 5, ultimately on the ballot. I just think moving forward, think about it, Mr. President. With that said, he knows who his base is. He knows his base is loyal. He knows that anybody who's conservative is going to vote for him. Right?
If
they're going to vote for him.
If he hasn't changed on October 2nd, 2023, he's not going to change.
Nick, I've covered him now since the escalator. I don't remember the MFer line being dropped.
Yeah,
I just don't in a speech.
Not in that setting. You're correct.
So
is Dawn clutching her pearls?
I'm not. I'm not clutching anything. I'm just saying, go for the win. That's it. That's all. Just win.
No, I get you. Ron DeSantis was at the same event in California. He did real time, and then he also spoke at the same event that Trump did, commenting on Trump saying that he turned Florida red. This is what Ron DeSantis said, cut 12.
I understand that one of my residents was here earlier saying that he turned Florida red. All I will say is Ronald Reagan made the point, there's no limit to what you can do when you don't care who gets the credit. I just wish if he was the one that turned Florida red that he wouldn't have torn Georgia and Arizona blue, because that's not been good for us at all.
He had a good line there that he totally messed up.
until he went with the blue line?
Well, no, torn.
Oh.
He meant to say turn.
Oh.
It's a good
okay, I didn't pick up on that.
If you're just talking substance, it's a good line.
Yeah.
He says Trump turned Florida red. I just wish he wouldn't have turned Georgia and Arizona blue. But he messed it up.
Yeah, well,
which is why, again, he's
look,
not.
Trump and DeSantis have both get a lot of credit for Florida becoming as red as it is, and DeSantis doesn't do what he does in office if it's not for the endorsement of Trump. But I also don't think Trump has turned another state blue. You know what turns Georgia blue? People leaving New York and Pennsylvania, moving to Georgia because they're sick of the big blue cities, yet still voting Democrat when they get to the red state that they can't wait to have more freedom in. That's the thing that's infuriating, and I lived it in Tennessee. The amount of people that move to Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, you name it, and then when they get there, they like, I just couldn't take it anymore. All the crime and this and that, and they get there and they still vote for the Democrat. They flee because of the Democrat, and then they just can't find a way to vote R. I don't get that.
Ron DeSantis was also in Long Beach, California on Friday taking questions from the press about immigration. Like, this was a big topic, and he said the topic was on what he would do for deportations and everything if he becomes president. I'm going to start it. It's hard to hear the reporter's question, but Daniel, if you could start from the beginning. This is cut 11. So he's asking about the deportations and under the Biden administration and what he would do as president.
So everyone that has come illegally under Biden, we got to go. They're sending back. So that's going to be the first priority. That's probably 6 or 7 million people right there. It's going to require a lot of effort. It's going to require us to lean in. But if you don't have a sanction for violating the law, I support building a wall. I support all this. You're going to continue to have it. I would note that the former president is campaigning on the same promise he made in 16 that he didn't deliver on. In fact, Obama's first term, there were more deportations than under Trump's term in office. Now he's saying he's going to do this great thing. He had 4 years and didn't get the job done. We're going to get the job done, but I definitely think the people that are coming over, kind of last one in, first one out, and we're gonna really push forward strongly on that.
You know, I think a lot like crime, the border is an easy fix. You just have to be willing to do it, invest the time, the money, the energy, and the resources, and you can do it. And we talked earlier about Trump with shoplifting, shooting. That's what you should do at the southern border.
Oh boy.
You do not come into this country illegally. We will wipe you out if you come across.
Just the threat of it.
Just the threat of it.
Just the threat of it.
Yep.
I mean, like, think
They
about.
don't even have to do that. All they have to do is what Trump did what he did, which is to say, hey, if you're coming over the border, you're going to stay in a center while we process you. So whether that's on the Mexico side or even on the Americans, if you cross over on American soil, we're going to keep you in a center and we're going to process you. We're not going to do what's happening now, which is just give you a little cue card, cue card that says, come back in 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
That's not going to happen.
Yep.
We're not going to give you a free phone, and we're not going to give you all this stuff. You're going to stay in a center. We will properly process you.
Yep.
And then once, if you have a court date and you're allowed to go forth with asylum, fine. But what are the numbers this morning? This morning there was a CBP source saying 260,000 illegal folks, and those are just the ones that they stopped, and that was just last month.
I know. Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that was for September.
Yeah,
August was 304,000, which was the highest it's been since December of 2022, where it was 302,000. The border crossing spiked just like retail sales do.
Gosh.
Back to school and Christmas time. It's amazing.
Ron DeSantis was also on Real Time with Bill Maher.
Hey, so real quick, by the way,
Yeah.
as I picked up on the emphasis of DeSantis here. Has the DeSantis camp gotten to you with the pronunciation as well?
I say that as a joke because he went from saying DeSantis to DeSantis.
Yeah. Do we know yet why that was done? I mean, that's got to be some consultant thing, but I'm trying to understand what's the motive behind it.
I don't know, but he used to call himself Ron DeSantis.
Oh, I know. But like what? Who came to the conclusion that, hey, this will make you more electable? Like,
somebody did.
I know, but it's like, for what?
Well, that's the problem. That's the gripe that everybody has about DeSantis, is that he's too, like, he's being led around by these.
Is he too image conscious?
No, he's just allowing these political consultants dictate what what he's going to say and do.
And I think that's again why Trump has such a big lead, and it's just one of the reasons. But Trump doesn't care about his image. Trump just lets it rip. He rapid fire, boom, boom, boom.
Speaking of which, look at Carol's reaction to what you're saying.
Who?
That's very funny.
Carol?
She says if somebody doesn't vote for DJT because he curses, they should go back to the convent.
I agree.
So she has.
If curse words bother you, I can't help you as a grown adult.
So he was on Real Time with Bill Maher on Sunday, and surprisingly, they had more things in common than I thought. Bill went after him about the abortion thing and everything like that, but they're not on the same page with everything. But he did agree with him about the whole COVID lockdown thing. This is cut 10, Daniel.
Doesn't work, but that's driven by ideology. So it's not just we're having just a philosophical debate. I think woke ideology has corrupted institutions. I think it's corrupted things like the CDC with how they handled COVID with the nonsense that they did. So it's a broader issue than just a philosophical fight.
You keep wanting to get back to that, and I don't blame you, because you're right. We're on the same page there. And I think it's unfair what they did to you, because you did handle it better. You did handle it better. You were right. You were like, let's target the people, protect the people who are most vulnerable, and everybody else can go on with their lives a little better. You open schools sooner. And a lot of the stuff that's come in, the information we have after now, we've had a few years to look at it, you were more right. And they won't give you credit for that.
Well, it's not about credit for me, though. It's not about credit for me. It's about them admitting that they were wrong, because they are setting us up. If this happened again, they would repeat the same playbook all over again. And if we don't have accountability, that's what's going to happen. So I'll bring accountability so it never happens in our country again.
I saw the New York Times did such a despicable hit piece on you that I saw, because I forget what the lead headline was, but it was basically Ron DeSantis up the pandemic. And then, like, at the very end, it says Florida's death rate overall was better than the national average. Now, if you're going to do an article, about Florida and the pandemic, shouldn't that be the lead? Yeah. Shouldn't that be the? I mean, talk about burying the lead. We're the #1 state for in-migration. I mean, if we did so bad, people would have been leaving Florida. People are coming. Wealth's moving into the state. Our economy's done better than any other large state. And education, we're now ranked, I think, in the top 5 on most metrics in education. Now, that wasn't true when I was a kid growing up in Florida. So we did it right. But what we did is we understood you can't stop society because of one respiratory virus.
Wow, what a concept. You can't shut everything down because of one virus that is plaguing one segment of the population. There's actually 2 other things I think are interesting in that clip. One, he's got to stop. He said it again, the woke ideology. Stop using, and I'm tired of hearing the word ideology too. Woke ideology, just stop. But also, I'm telling you what, Bill Maher's going to get a lot of pushback from those on the left. See, we told you Bill's becoming a Republican.
Here it is.
I know.
The new rules thing that he did, I didn't pull it because it was long, was basically saying that Biden is becoming Ruth Bader Biden and he's too old and he shouldn't run again. So he's already getting ire of the left by saying, see, this guy's not one of us. He's not with us.
And Bubba45 says, when Maher is shilling for you, you know you're part of the uniparty. So Bill Maher is giving Ron DeSantis credit for the way he handled the pandemic and the way the media attacked him unfairly, and that makes Ron DeSantis part of the uniparty. That's Bubba's logic right there, which makes 0 sense.
Well, I think he means because I mean, Bill Maher's a liberal. You know what I mean? So when a liberal is speaking up for you, I think that's his logic there.
Well, I would just think that sometimes a liberal will be like, you know what, the conservative got it right. You know, that's just me.
We talked about RFK Jr. Next Monday, he's coming here to Philadelphia to make a big announcement, and we've speculated, or actually Mediaite speculated, that he's going to announce that he's running independently for the Libertarian Party. We're talking about who this helps, who this hurts. You did a big take. Nick Kayal did a big take on it this morning. Just go back to about 6:17 this morning on the Odyssey app if you want to hear it. We played this earlier, but it's worth playing again on who RFK thinks he actually pulls more from. This is cut 1.
Yeah, but and then the other thing is that I take more votes from President Trump than I do from President Biden.
Right, so why would that help them?
Yeah, it's not helping them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt he's going to be a factor. And again, as I said in the big take, he resonates, I think, with both sides in certain categories. I mean, obviously, he will never resonate with the right based on his environmental climate initiatives and what he believes. But he also does resonate with the right when it comes to free speech, anti-cancellation, being against vaccine mandates. And look, yes, there are times where he is, I don't want to say an anti-vaxxer, but completely, because there are times where he does advocate for some vaccines. But he is so against the mandate, which I think a lot of us are. But I'll tell you what, and it's part of what he's going to unveil as part of his economic plan. And I don't know that there's an American out there that should disagree with this, no matter what your politics are. The 3% mortgage, I mean, the fact that houses in part of this global reset of wiping out the middle class, since 2020, the housing market has gone up 46%.
Yeah.
And with that mortgage plan that he has, I mean, who wouldn't like to have an extra $1,000 a month off of their mortgage payment? I mean, it really is at the point now. And me and my wife bought our first home in 2008 when we got married. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, if I'm ever going to be able to buy a house again.
Yeah.
With the best job of my life at almost 40 years old.
Yep.
Because the average home is $400,000.
Yep.
I said this on the air a couple of months ago, jokingly. You can't get a crack house for $300,000.
Yeah,
it's
true.
unreal.
It's true. Yeah,
it's true. I'll just say this about RFK Jr. Right now, he does look good, and when he had testified before the House Ethics Committee, and he talked about censorship and all of that. But in an actual contest, you know, we're still over a year out. I'm just going to say this: the guy is very liberal. And at the end of the day, I mean, maybe not looking right now at the polls because people don't really know all of his policies. When when all of his policies are exposed, there will be way more people, I think, on the left that are going to vote for him ultimately than people on the right, because he's not exactly pro-business, pro-small business.
Nope.
He's not a conservative fiscally. So at the end of the day, I think when people do learn all of his policy ideas, he's not going to get the conservative vote.
Yeah.
Well, he
I'm
doesn't.
just saying.
I mean,
even though he's attractive now,
elections are decided on a very, very small margin.
True.
He only needs to get 2 to 3% of the vote to make a difference. You know what I mean? So, like,
he's a little. There's two things that bother me about him. It's again, I think we're tired of hearing about the family history. Like, I got it. There's some tragedies and some just unfortunate stuff, unlucky stuff. And then he's very science-y. I don't know that science is necessarily your selling point if you're trying to win over the non-Biden voter. Too much science with this guy, with vaccines and the climate. He gets a little too in the weeds, a little too nerdy for me.
Well, wait a minute. RFK Jr.?
Yeah.
Because he's an attorney who's a climate activist, climate change attorney. So that's his whole gig. That's his skill set.
I know.
But again, he ultimately, I think, even though I personally, I enjoyed him speaking about free speech and censorship to the House Ethics Committee. We all enjoyed that. He's a great speaker. He has a lot of heart. I get that. But when you look at policies, and we're looking at this horrific economy right now, and Bidenomics, he's not the cure to Bidenomics.
Oh, I know.
I do think that he does take from both. I think he takes more from Republicans than he does Democrats. But people like people like Gwyneth Paltrow, I think he'll get people like that, like the crunchy liberals like that. But I think he's going to get like the Joe Rogans and the those type of people and his followers.
There's no doubt he's getting Bill Maher's vote.
Yeah,
I would bet. And by the way, did you see the video of RFK yesterday on social media? He was doing a backflip off of a big rock into a quarry.
He's very fit.
What is it with these Kennedys and their death wishes?
I know.
Like his,
and it wasn't a good flip, by the way, too. It was only if he was supposed to go, was it 300? It was only like 270 degrees. He didn't stick the landing.
Wasn't it his uncle that died by skiing outside of a plane? Like he jumped from a plane onto a ski slope and died, and his John F. K. Jr. was flying a plane when he shouldn't be. Like, what is it with these Kennedys and their death wish?
Yeah, they're like Evel Knievel.
They all have too much money. That's the problem.
I know. They got too much time on their hands.
Too much time.
They're a lot like me.
Yeah.
Except I don't have the money.
This story broke on Friday when we were still on the air. Dianne Feinstein died at the age of 90. Nancy Pelosi was on with Jake Tapper, I believe, to discuss the death of her friend. And she said something interesting here, that Dianne left on her own terms.
Oh.
Did she, though? Did she?
Was she even with it enough to say that she wanted to do this on her own?
Or was she being propped up there?
I think she was propped up.
Cut 9, Daniel.
Let's talk about her, because yesterday you accompanied Senator Dianne Feinstein on her final journey home to San Francisco aboard the military plane. It must have been a difficult journey. What was going through your mind during the flight?
Well, I was with her daughter, and see, with Dianne, it's obviously official, it's political, and it's very personal. This is a woman who she left on her own terms. You saw how she answered Larry Craig, but she did that any number of times when colleagues or others tried to minimize her standing on an issue. She and I were not always on the same place on the spectrum of politics, but we all cared about our country. And she, again, reached across the aisle all the time, would negotiate with anyone for our great state of California, brought home the bacon, respected our natural resources, the forests, the deserts, the ocean, the lakes, and the beautiful diversity of our people.
Yeah, so in her final stretch here in serving, she was wheeled in and out of proceedings.
Yep.
And when asked yay or nay, she gave a dissertation that actually went on for about 30 seconds before somebody intervened and said, Dianne, just yay or nay. I don't believe that she was there on her own, her free will.
There's zero chance she
She
was there on her own terms.
No shot.
It's just
And the
shameful.
sad thing is Pelosi is about 6-7 years out from getting to that point, and we're going to have the same conversation when Nancy gets to that point.
Absolutely. Because these people won't leave office. They're going to die in their chairs. Sorry.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
Merrick Garland did a very rare interview last night with 60 Minutes. Did anybody watch this?
Oh.
Yep.
Asked a lot of questions by Scott Pelley, a lot about all these cases that are up against both Biden and Trump, and he said this is cut 15. He says we don't have one rule for Republicans and another for
Get
Democrats.
the boots on, boys. Getting real deep in here now.
Cut 15, Daniel.
Prosecutions that will shape the future of the nation. In a rare interview, the Attorney General told us that in the Trump and Biden trials ahead, his prosecutors will pursue justice without fear and without favor.
We do not have one rule for Republicans and another rule for Democrats. We don't have one rule for foes and another for friends. We don't have one rule for the powerful and another for the powerless, for the rich or for the poor, or based on ethnicity. We have only one rule, and that one rule is that we follow the facts and the law, and we reach the decisions required by the Constitution, and we protect civil liberties.
Are you essentially saying, as Attorney General to the American people, trust me?
Well, in the end, I suppose it does in the end come down to trust, but it's not just me. It's decades of the norms of this department that are part of the DNA of the career prosecutors who are running the investigation and supervising the investigations that you're talking about.
A.G. Garland, are you saying it does not matter if you have an R or a D in front of your name? That is correct, Mr. Pelley. If you believe that, I mean, I got something to sell you during the commercial break. I mean, there's a reason why this guy doesn't come out too often to speak, because it's so blatantly obvious. And when you just look at all the way these things have played out, from the appointing of the special counsel with David Weiss, and then the Hunter Biden stuff, this is something that's gone on for 5 years that could have been wrapped up in 5 months. But yet we see this rush and this accelerated speedy trial for everything under the watch or under the umbrella of Merrick Garland when it comes to Donald J. Trump. So, I give Pelley a little bit of credit for asking the question, but boy, Merrick Garland, what a snoozer he is, by the way.
Merrick Garland on Biden calling him to influence investigations. So Scott Pelley says, what if he does? What if Joe Biden calls you and tries to influence you on the investigation into his son, Hunter Biden? This is what he said, cut 16.
Department. You are not in communication with the president or any member of his administration with regard to the investigation of former President Trump.
No, I am not.
If President Biden asked you to take action with regard to the Trump investigation, what would your reaction be?
I am sure that will not happen, but I would not do anything in that regard. And if necessary, I would resign. But there is no sense that anything like that will happen.
Have you ever had to tell him, hands off these investigations, Mr. President?
No, because he has never tried to put hands on these investigations.
No, Joe actually doesn't know there's investigations going on because he's so out of it. But we've seen the polling numbers that most Americans do believe that this is a political persecution and prosecution of Donald Trump. So he can sit there and be as staunch and adamant as he would like there in that little softball setting on 60 Minutes. But the American public, for the most part, does not buy that.
One more on the Trump investigation. Is he ruining the Trump campaign by announcing these indictments when he did? Cut 17.
It's because there are 2 federal indictments. The long-standing rule in the Justice Department is that we can't comment about pending cases.
Where does that rule come from? What's the point?
One reason is to protect the privacy and civil liberties of the person who's under investigation. It's to protect witnesses who also may or may not become public later in an investigation. And then finally, it's to protect the investigation itself. Investigations proceed in many different directions, eventually coming to a fruition, a decision to charge or not charge about a particular thing or not. And if witnesses and potential subjects knew everything that the investigators had previously looked at and were about to look at, it could well change testimony. It could well make witnesses unavailable to us.
And this is not peculiar to the Trump investigations.
Well, this is a rule for all investigations. This is part of what we call our justice manual. It's been there for probably at least 30 years and probably a bit longer than that.
Help us understand the timing. These prosecutions of the former president are happening during the campaign. You could make the argument that it's the worst possible time.
But the Justice Department has general practices about not making significant overt steps or charging within a month or so of an election. We are clearly outside that time frame in these cases. Prosecutors, special counsel, they follow the facts and the law where they lead. When they've gotten the amount of evidence necessary to make a charging decision and have decided that a charge is warranted, that's when they bring their cases.
The investigation itself has determined the timing.
Yes, exactly right.
Your critics say that it's time to ruin Mr. Trump's chances in the election.
Well, that's absolutely not true. Justice Department prosecutors are nonpartisan. They don't allow partisan considerations to play any role in their determinations.
It is actually helping Trump every time, because when the polls come out after an indictment, he goes up even further. But talking about the timing, I am actually holding the policy here of the U.S. DOJ, and it says here that every time bad news comes out about the Biden family, indict the mother bleeper. Because if you look at the timeline that we laid out for you on a Big Take a while back, in 4 separate cases, there was bad news or a leak or a whistleblower or something that went against Joe or Hunter, and within the next day or the next business day on the calendar, because one of them was on a Friday and then the indictment occurred on a Monday, every single time, coincidentally enough, Trump gets indicted the day after a Biden bombshell.
Wow.
And then if it happens once, okay, maybe it's just random.
Uh-oh.
But 4 times, 4?
By the way, our stream on the YouTube chat has just been suspended for policy violations.
We're down?
Uh-oh.
We are.
What did you do?
I don't know.
Wow, that's never happened on the show.
Yeah.
We've had some replays flagged because of music beds, copyrights, like Tom Petty's all in his feelings because we're playing his song. But we got shut. Wow.
We're sitting here.
Did I throw a conspiracy theory out? Did I incite hate and induce violence?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Am I a threat to democracy?
Uh-oh.
Is Kayal and Company a radical right-wing show?
We're gonna be brought up on charges soon.
Oh, goody. Cuff me.
Geez, I thought we were too moderate, I've been told sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, man.
Well, folks.
Here we go.
1210 on your AM dial or on the free Odyssey app.
See,
what did we do?
There's a million. I'm guessing that the CBS 60 Minutes clip.
That would get us in trouble? Isn't that public?
It's fair usage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's totally fair use. That's baloney.
Valdez wasn't in there cursing on the group chat, was he?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Stream suspended. Oh, well.
Well, there's a first for everything, folks.
There is.
I'm going to make a promo out of this. All right. Well, that'll do it for not only the YouTube stream, not only the cut sheet. You know what? I'm so in disarray. I might go pull a fire alarm.
Oh, no. Please don't do
that.
Don't do that. I might have to pull a fire alarm.
Because you'll get in big trouble, unlike some people.
That might get me into the bathroom door.
Yep.
All right.
Well, you could just say, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
I was flustered.
I was flustered, and I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
Everybody must eat, baby. All right. Well, that'll do it. 8:40, but it's time for a Dawn Stensland Big 3 at 8.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal and Company.
Big 3 at 8 this Monday morning as we enter into Red October. Well, I'll pick up where you left off because you were talking about Trump. So former President Donald J. Trump, a leading competitor for POTUS 2024 against the current president, in court this morning in New York City for his civil fraud trial this morning. So announced last night on his Truth Social platform that he would indeed go to court and be present. And he had been expected to attend. Law enforcement court employees they had to make all the security preps for this potential appearance at the courthouse. This is Lower Manhattan today and possibly tomorrow as well. So this is a civil case. It's not a criminal case. Civil fraud case brought a year ago by New York Attorney General Letitia James against Trump and his family, his eldest sons, their companies, and several executives. Starts 10 o'clock Eastern time this morning. And we've talked about the fact that the judge overseeing the case has teed this up nicely with a lot of, and this is going to go to the appeals courts, but says that the former president is liable for fraud, that he overvalued his properties on his financial statements for a decade.
We've seen the polls that show most Americans aren't really moved one way or the other with the drama and the political prosecutions. And those are on things like January 6th or Georgia or the classified documents. I'm not sure that many people at all really get moved by any of the civil stuff, so to speak, on the Trump end, right? It doesn't seem like that even comes close to registering with people.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you think about this is an attorney general who is seeking $250 million in damages. And is seeking a total ban on the Trump, not just Donald J. Trump, but all of his businesses.
Right.
And banning the company from engaging in business transactions for 5 years. This is unprecedented.
Oh, of course it is.
And so we'll, on appeal, and that's just it. They're just trying to wear him down every which way.
That's correct.
So I think ultimately this pushes more and more people to be convinced that this guy is getting a raw deal.
Which is amazing. It's supposed to wear him down, right? We never see him tired. It's supposed to hurt his campaign. All it does is boost him in the polls. Everything they do with the intention and their goals and motives behind it actually blows up in their face.
Yeah, it's true. Looting across Philadelphia, updating that. It was all last week and obviously was stretching and testing the resources of the Philadelphia Police Department, which we know is down in ranks. They're trying to hire, and it's not a great climate to try to hire new officers and recruit new officers as they tried to control all of those mostly adults intent on looting stores, causing a lot of damage and shaking up store employees who did not want to return to work. So we know that now Philadelphia Police, under new leadership, Philadelphia Acting Commissioner John Stanford says, no matter how upset you are with the criminal justice system, looting is never the answer. So that statement from police and releasing more videos. They continue, as they find more videos, they're releasing, saying we're looking for these individuals. We're asking if you can